Esme,
And I'm Nell.
and today we are going to be doing a 1 year recap slash celebration type of thing. And because of that, we are going to be drinking. So now is pouring wine as we speak.
I only have wine in my house right now.
I
I
have,
went down to check and there's only wine.
what do I have? I have schnapps and then cider. Cider. First of all, we have some news to get through before we get to drinking. If you don't know what we're going to be
Yes.
doing this week, we're going to be spinning a wheel and we'll have 30 seconds each to talk about a show that we've done, that the wheel lands on. And if we say anything mean about it or if we go over time, then we have to drink. Is that right?
Yeah, that'll
And
do.
we'll kind of just be drinking throughout though.
Anyways,
Yeah. So it will probably get harder for us to become more concise as we go on.
yeah. Hence the wheel spinning as well, because otherwise, something like Dear Evan Hansen, we know we're going to get out of the way first, so we can
Yeah.
be extra mean about it because we're going to drink anyways.
I am just seeing out a notebook,
Whereas the
so
worry is that Dear Evan Hansen is the last one we do, and
the
we're
wheel
already
will decide
drunk
our
out of
fate.
our minds.
I'm just
We
seeing out
actually, we probably won't get that drunk today. I don't think
no.
I'm going to get that drunk.
Anywho, big news. Hades Town on an extra tour, which was announced at like a couple months ago. I think we'd just seen Hades Town, and so we were like, well, how the hell are they going to do a Hades Town non-equity tour?
I kept getting the casting notices for it.
You did, and we spent a long time talking about them. They finally announced the cast and the details. It will be a new staging inspired by the Chadkin staging. And also another big question was the set, because that set is one of the best sets in musical theatre.
Amen.
And so it is inspired by the Rachel Huck set. If anyone would like to fly me out so I can see the Hades Town on Equity tour, I would love to see it.
I think it'll be fun to see how they do it.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued. Like, first performance, I will need a review, you know?
Yeah. I'll need pictures of the set, everything
Yeah.
like that.
To know how they do like certain things. Someone can TikTok their entire journey.
I think it'll be really interesting to see if they commit to the revolve or not. Because if they do, easy. Like everything else kind of comes naturally about how you stage it around the revolve. If they decide not to do the revolve or if they can't do the revolve,
Yeah.
I think that will make it a lot more fun. And I'd really like to see how they do it without the revolve.
I would actually say instead of a revolve, they need a trapdoor to come and go from Hades Town. Set up that principle.
Yeah, because they need some way to quickly get on and off stage.
Yes, and have it be like a main part of the action still.
Yeah. Whether they just do like split leveling, that could be impactful. Like
they can even have like a door at the back of the stage.
Yeah, I guess if you had to like force Eurydice to walk herself back down to Hades Town at the end, rather than getting taken back down, that could be fun.
So, next up, the normal cast recording has been remastered and is coming out by the time this episode's out. It's coming out tomorrow. Now, they gave exclusive access to 2 of the tracks to basically in the article, Tom Kitt, who I love. His work on Next to Normal is obviously outstanding. It's great. I love. In case you haven't told, I like Next to Normal. It's one of my favorite musicals.
Just a little.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings around it and that cast album specifically that I'm not really going to get into, but I'm kind of going to zip past in relation to this. He was like, I'm going to make it sound full, I'm going to make it sound more rockier. You knew revisiting the show for the London production has really made me... He hasn't changed anything for the London production, I don't think. I don't know if he hasn't. Has made me really like have a re-interest in it, and we were going to do something for the 15th anniversary, so we decided to reorchestrate it or like remix it or remaster it or whatever. And I listened to it, and I will admit that the electric guitar on it does go harder, and that is what I like to hear when it comes to Next to Normal. However, the voices sound weirder, especially in the big ensemble songs like Light, and even then it's not a big ensemble show because it's a tiny cast. But you know what I mean? Like, they brought the instrumental forward without really bringing the vocals forward, so they do kind of get lost in that wall of sound. And then something with, like, I Don't Know, again, everything's going so hard, that electric guitar's going hard, the drums are going hard. And then you just kind of have, like, this almost mic'd up effect with Diana. And they do use that mic effect in the London production with Gabe's stuff, but it works for Gabe's stuff. Diana doesn't need to sound any louder, thank you very much. Anyway, give me a London cast recording. I need one so bad. I have issues with Alice Ripley. as I think many of us do. Moving on.
Moving on.
Annie is going to be playing at Madison Square Garden. We already knew this over Christmas time. And Whoopi Goldberg will be Miss Hannigan.
Incredible casting, first of all.
Yeah.
That's going to be great.
I was like, okay, yeah, they put some money into this. Congrats to them. Cinderella's Castle on August 16th will have a digital ticket coming out. And then the pro shot will be out early 2025, which is exciting. It's like not that long between, yeah, it's not a long time between production and then like it coming out.
Like, good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We will not be getting a digital ticket, but if you hear us on here seriously debating it, it's just what we do every year.
We always think about getting a digital ticket.
And then we don't. But we love Stargood. We're just broke.
And we don't.
Yeah. The Producers is going to the Miniere Chocolate Factory, which I was having a conversation about this with someone in my life, and they were like, it's such a tiny venue. How the hell are they going to fit the Producers in there? I was like, girl, I don't fucking know, man.
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows anymore?
Not to sound like rude, I have no interest in the Producers.
I think I know all the jokes that they would make, so I wouldn't find it funny, if that makes sense.
I'm sure it would be really good to go and see it. I probably should go see it.
Yeah.
Just for like the culture of it.
Yeah.
I have no interest in spending my money to go and see the Producers.
But yeah, Chocolate Factory, if you'd like to get us there, we would happily go see the Producers.
Happily would go and see it. Not willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's not that I have any like beef with it or like any issues with it at all. I just don't have any interest in it.
Also, the way certain people talk about it, like it's the second coming of Christ, I'm like, I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's the same way like people seriously talk about like Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals.
Yeah.
It's like it's not that deep. Surely it's not that deep.
Like I'm sure the Producers are very good at being a musical comedy, but that's kind of where it starts and ends.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't want to start beef with the Producers fan. I'm sure it's a great musical.
I'm
I've
sure
just never had any interest.
I'm sure you guys are really on something of that. Austin Spector, he had a piece in Broadway World talking about his work on the Oh Mary and New York City Center's social media, which are two, like, they are two great social medias. Like,
yeah.
Every time they post, I'm chuckling.
I've read the whole piece.
Yeah, I haven't yet.
It's really good.
I really want to because
it was just a genuinely interesting read. I just read like stuff about the video for O'Mary announcing their extension with Patti LuPone.
Oh yeah, with Patti.
Yeah. They were talking about how it's so cool that they have these like actual stars wanting to be in these promotion videos like Patti LuPone. But the video itself was, I forget his last name for some reason now, but Cole
Escosa.
Cole Escosa, that's his name.
They go by they them.
They them, that's their name. Who plays O'Mary.
Yeah.
Who played Parade, he gave it his old joke. The O'Mary account. That's incredible. It makes so much sense. That's incredible. But yeah, that video of them like running around and being like, 1 ticket to O'Mary, please.
We love
it was just filmed on Austin Spector's phone. Just like running. It's so good. And like talking about like when a lot of productions that start off Broadway get to Broadway and get to the kind of level that O'Mary's at, they'll kind of fire their original social media manager and hire a team to like focus in.
Yeah.
But Austin Spector has been with O'Mary since the beginning.
Yeah.
And is kind of like there is a team there as well. It is mainly him.
And it gives O'Mary like a really distinctive voice on social media that's not corporate.
Yeah, they were talking as well about during Pride Month.
Yeah.
Where every other show and every other like entity, like corporate entity, go full rainbow. They on Instagram just put out a picture of like the bust of Abe Lincoln with being like no more gay. Like full black and white.
Love O'Mary.
Just
bring it to London.
Down. It's got such an iconic voice. The thing with the New York City Centre of it's like this esteemed institution.
Yeah.
Like very iconic. And they're tweeting stuff like, and Ben Platt, who played Parade, gave it his all.
Like, they always make casting announcements so much fun because they put out
They'll do like redacted as in redacted.
yeah, or they'll like when they did the Sarah announcement, they were like, and her name was, and so everyone was talking about who it could be, and I was like, oh, it's Sarah Brown Eyes. Like that's what they're referencing, but everyone got to have their little laughs before that.
Yeah. Like I think it's so iconic
Yeah.
to have that clear of a voice that like the two prominent social medias you're running. Because he also runs like his own stuff. Like he's a drag queen, runs all of that
I think
stuff.
I've seen him on my Twitter feed, like otherwise.
Yeah. Like I think he responded to the tweet from Broadway World about the article.
Yeah.
Just being like, don't write articles about anybody these days. The second I found out at least that O'Mary and New York City Centre were run by the same person,
I was like, oh,
I was
okay.
like, oh, that makes so much sense, obviously.
Yeah.
But without knowing, well, they both have similar humor styles, obviously. They're both such distinct voices
Yes.
that like they are their own separate entity. I think that's really cool and really incredible to be able to do.
Like,
it was just a very interesting article to read. I love O'Mary. I will
bring
do
it here,
it so badly.
like, a musical. We do New York. It's 80 minutes as well. Like it's one act. You're in, you're out. They tell some funny jokes about how Mary Todd Lincoln is a drunk cabaret star, and then you leave. Great time.
Great time.
Oh, Fiddler at Open Air. It opened. It's got really good reviews. Apparently, that's set. I have a friend who saw it and he was like, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. I'm trying to convince my uncle to take me because it's the only other he doesn't like musicals, he likes two musicals, and one of them is Fiddler on the Roof. He's like, why would I go see it when I can watch the movie? I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's meant to be really good. Live. And he was like, I've seen it live. I saw it at the proms. I was like, well, I haven't. You didn't take me. You took my older sister.
I'm so excited for the open air production of Tuck Everlasting. Yeah, that is happening.
After last week's episode, they did tell us.
They did tell us that it's happening.
They just didn't say when, so it could happen 10 years from now. We'd still be right.
Excited for the set for that.
Yeah, it'd be sick. I mean, Rotten at Drury Lane happened, and it also had great buzz around it. People were saying transfer it to the West End. It did look
really good.
I don't know if they're going to transfer it. I would be surprised if they did.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will, but we do.
I would be so happy to be mistaken.
Yes, like we were the first time.
I'll be so happy if they do. To be fair, I stand by what we said because this was a concert.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single other thing that said we're doing a one-night concert of this show, it's just a full production.
Yeah, like you could see the orchestra.
Like the only other one that was vaguely a concert was like Love Never Dies. And even that was still kind of a production.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's sold well enough or fast enough for them to warrant a full production on the UK.
That's the thing that I think I was trying to say when we did Something Rotten.
Yeah.
Which was just that I think despite how incredible of a show it is, I don't think it can survive for very long on the West End.
Yes. Yeah.
So like the concert was a good idea. If it could get a house for a like month-long limited run.
Yeah.
I think it absolutely could do that, and I would love it too, so I could go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I don't think it can do anything much longer than that.
Yeah.
Because there just isn't the demand. And that's what I was trying to say in the Something Rotten episode. I would love to be wrong. I would love if they did put on a production that lasted like 10 years on the West End.
Yeah.
That would be great. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen because I was watching those ticket sales because I was like, are they going to transfer this? And then we got to like a week before and they were constantly discounting it on Today's X. This is no hate to anyone in the production. I'm just talking about the plain facts here. Like everyone in the production looked very talented. I'm sad I couldn't go.
Like it genuinely looked like an incredible production. I wish I was there. I'm so sad I couldn't be because
however,
I want to see it so badly.
However, the demand is not there. Apart from us. We would go see
Apart from us. Put on a show for us too.
We would go see a lot of things that no one else would.
Yes. We need the double feature of Something Rotten and Tuck Everlasting just for us too.
Just for us too. Like there's a lot of shows that the general public would be like, who the fuck would go see that? And then me and Ella are like, yep, we are here.
in the back row of the balcony because we can't afford anything more, but
Nope.
we'd be there.
We'll be there in spirit. Gatsby at ART closed. Sad times for me. Actually, happy times for me because it means they can't go to Broadway. Thank you, Great Gatsby. They can't go to Broadway. However, should I tell you where would be great? The National
The
Theatre.
National Theatre,
Rachel
which is kind
Chapkin.
of booked up recently.
Yeah, I mean next summer they can do something there. Do another workshop, bring it to the National. Rachel Chapkin, I hear you have connections there. Bring it there. I will be there. I will be there, and I will actually like be there because
I think ART Gatsby should definitely do something in the UK as just another out of town tryout. I think that would be perfect.
mm.
There are many reasons this would be good, and not just so that Esme can go see it.
No, also they could win some Olivier's, get some buzz, and then when The Great Gatsby closes in like a year and a half, if they're lucky, let's be real here, um, although saying that they've never dipped below $1 million, they can then go to Broadway with this massive buzz around them and get everyone really excited, like Sunset
Yeah,
Boulevard are almost doing.
yeah. Why try and compete straight up on Broadway?
Yeah.
You know,
Also,
come to the UK first, get a head start on the UK crowd,
yeah,
and then bring it over to Broadway
Florence
in like a
Welch's
year.
Florence Welch's name means a lot more here than it does in America. I mean, it means something in
Yeah.
America, but here people fucking love Florence Welch.
Oh
I still
yeah.
kind of have beef with her. Although
That's personal.
if she brings her Gatsby here, I'll call a truce for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Anyway, strange something I don't want to go to Broadway and would like to leave the UK. Can I say that?
I love how beef is just like so we have no reason to dislike it. We just don't like it.
I just don't care. I think it's boring and annoying, and something good could be taking up that space. And I'm not saying the actors aren't good. I'm just saying I don't like Netflix involved in theatre. It stresses me out for some reason.
I think I'm just not a Stranger Things fan, so I
I'm not
don't
sure.
care for it.
Anyway, Stranger Things Last Shadow is going to Broadway. Sure, okay, Jan. Great. Anywho, Liza Minnelli has got a memoir being published in like 2 years.
Like 2026. Spring of 2026.
Liza, I love you. However, that's insane. Why are you making us wait 2 years?
I will be buying and reading it. It will go right next to my Andrew Lloyd Webber memoir.
Andy. I can't wait for the insane stories to come out of it because I liked a video on TikTok of her saying that she's almost died many times. And one of them was on stage in Cabaret, I believe. No, not Cabaret, on the set of Cabaret.
Icon.
Now this one's big for us as two diehard Tim Minchin. I would say I'm a big fan of Tim Minchin. He's never let me down in a theatrical sense.
I would say the same. He's never
Um,
missed.
he's never missed. Tim Minchin wants to do an original musical, and to that I say, whatever you need, whatever you want to do, I will be there. You've never
Whatever
let me
you want. We will be
down.
there opening night. Invite us to press night.
Yeah.
We will be there. Raving reviews all around.
Like, I had never been to a Tim Minchin show and been like, this could be better. I've always been like, Tim, you understand me. You understand what needed to be done
I've said this
here.
could be longer for sure. I've said this
Yeah.
could go on for a bit longer.
I think I've said I want this to run forever and to never leave the UK, but I don't get a say apparently.
Please, UK theatre, bring back Groundhog Day.
What we're
2 times
saying,
wasn't enough. 2 times wasn't enough.
what we're saying is bring back Groundhog Day, as we often say.
But I will happily go and
Oh,
see an original Tim Minchin musical.
yeah, you've never missed. Anywho, now onto the most political news we'll get to this week. Who's proud of us for steering away from political news for once? Because there's just too much and there's too much debate to get into, so I just
It's
ignore.
too much and it's too sad, and we're drinking, so I'm not willing to be sad before I start drinking.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a naive way to view the world.
We've spoken about it amongst
It's
ourselves.
our podcast, we can do what we want.
Yeah. Anyway, Aaron, also it is at the end of the day a musical theatre podcast, not a politics podcast. How we try sometimes, so
We do try.
Aaron Tveit stand in the White House? Question mark.
So Kamala Harris's VP pick,
Tim Waltz,
Tim Waltz, his wife,
Gwen Waltz,
Gwen
What's her name?
Waltz, follows an Aaron Tveit fan page on Instagram
Yeah.
for no apparent reason.
No.
Apart from, I assume, being an Aaron Tveit fan.
And you know what? I saw that on Twitter and I went, you know what? It does kind of
Power
make
to
sense
her.
that this Midwestern mum saw Aaron Tveit in something and went, I like that boy. I'm going to follow a fan account for him.
Yeah.
Anywho, are we ready to spin to play the game? Any guesses what we're
Okay.
going to get first?
I think it'll be really funny if it's something that I like have no memory of.
Some of these I was doing, and I'm just gonna be like, when we hit May, guys, when we hit May, I'm gonna be like, if I got really existential about death, then I'm so sorry.
Let me look at some of these. To be fair, I could talk about most of these
Yeah.
while sober, which obviously we've done them all sober, but
Yeah, we've actually never been drinking on the podcast. We've both been violently hungover on the podcast.
yeah. My other thing I was gonna say for the rules, if we are severely under the time limit, like by more than half, so if one of us can't talk for more than 15 seconds about a musical, we should have to drink.
Oh,
so I'm thinking something like, there was one I saw before, and now I can't remember what it was.
I think it might be that one.
That doesn't help me. Addams Family was the one I thought of.
I was thinking more of like Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol I could talk about. I was talking about the book and the Muppets movie, you know?
Now watched the Muppets movie after we did that episode. It was like, this slaps. I was like,
I watched it for the first time last Christmas, and it's pretty good. I watched it twice actually, because then I showed my family because they'd also never seen it.
It's iconic.
But yeah, I think if we're like under halfway through the limit and we can't think of anything else to say, and I don't just mean like being silent, but being like, and then, you know, I think that doesn't count as talking.
Like stalling.
Yeah, I think that should count because that means we're not real fans.
Yeah. Also, I've got my notebook up and I'm going to note down when we're being haters so we can take the right out of drinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. Spin it.
Right, let's spin it. Click to spin.
I'm so terrified, actually.
I don't know what's gonna come. Okay. Okay. So the first one is Spring Awakening. Do you want me to go first?
Yes. You're just gonna hear me repeat everything Esme says.
Alright, let me get a timer up. Shit, there's a lot of numbers. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I love Spring Awakening. I think it is actually one of the rare musicals that managed to get teenagers right without feeling condescending or pushy, but it also has a certain aspect of universality to it. I love the 2008, 2007 Tony Awards performance. I think it's a very good advertisement for the show, and I think that it's a rare case where the censorship actually works in their favor. I do think it is quite interesting how it is ground zero. Time went off.
That was over. You are halfway through a sentence.
Yeah.
You stopped, but you are halfway through a sentence.
I thought I had way more time.
I'm gonna have the complete opposite problem.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
I think Spring Awakening is a really good musical, and I agree with what Esme said about it being really good for teenagers and like teenage angst, and actually having a way to express that rather than just being like, so angry, I hate life, which is what we're at now with I can't be a hater about a different musical as what we were Spring Awakening. I think it's really fun. I think the set is cool. I like the set. I like the costumes. I like what it's trying to say, and I think a lot of the time it's
You went over.
fuck.
This is fun.
Oh my god. Drink Echo Falls. Drink Echo Falls.
Okay. Remove that. Good. Spin the wheel again. It's
right.
Dear Evan
Do you want to
Hansen,
go fast on this one too?
Yeah, okay. Run a hate
Because I'm
tally.
gonna bitch.
Run a hate tally.
Yeah,
Date.
get ready to go.
Good today. Good today. 3, 2, 1. Dear Evan Hansen is one of the most mind-boggling musicals of the 2010s. How the fuck did this show get so successful? I get what they're trying to do, and that's what infuriates me about it. Somewhere deep within the caucus of this show is a good musical. Don't even get me started on the 2017 Tony Awards. They were a shit show of gargantuan proportions. Mental health representation, it embodies everything worse about it in the 2010s. And we hated on 13 Reasons Why. Rightfully so. That show is shit. We should have also been hating on Dear Evan Hansen.
That time?
Yeah, I stayed within the time limits.
That's good. I got 9 times you were a hater during that. And one of them was about 13 Reasons Why for some reason.
Just started talking and then just couldn't stop. Right, let me do some
drink 9 times.
Ready for your hateration.
Yeah. I'm gonna start strong with it, I'll tell you that now.
Right, let me get my pen in my hand. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2.
I genuinely think that Dear Evan Hansen is the worst show ever created. I hate this show. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I think that again, there is something that it is genuinely trying to do, and I understand what it's trying to do. And I think if there was a focus on the Murphys more than there was on Evan Hansen and his story, it would be a good show, and it would be a good exploration into teen mental health, like Spring Awakening was. But instead, it focuses so hard on this like savior complex of this poor.
You also got 9. Wrapping them up early on where you just go, I hate it. I hate it.
I had to do 10 because I went over as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think my thing that I was gonna say was that it focuses so much on the savior thing, and then doesn't at the same time doesn't address any actual mental health issues. It doesn't name anything.
No.
It isn't actually doing anything. It's really like shallow.
Yeah.
You know, I hate it.
It is different. Last thing I'm going to say about different Hansen is it now struggling to drink.
So bad.
You could drink the unopened wine that you have.
The bottle is empty now. I have to finish this. I've got another bottle of Echo Falls, and then I can open the new wine.
Okay.
Anyways, I got halfway through 5 more sips.
Should I spin the wheel while you're drinking? Oh wait, I need to remove it. Shit. We ain't doing that again. Okay, cool, it's been removed. Spinning. It's Phantom.
This is like this. What? It's not loaded for me.
Huh?
It's not loaded.
It's Phantom.
Okay, this is easy. I'm only gonna have to drink once because I am gonna go over the limit.
Wait, was it done?
I think you just go first in all of these.
Yeah.
We've got a system down.
Yeah, we've got a system.
Do you want me to get a hater tally up? Or do you think you'll be good about it?
I might be a hater like once or twice.
Okay.
Depends on how deep I can get. Phantom unfortunately slaps. Like it's a very good musical. There are like I was listening to Prima Donna yesterday. Great song. Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again, another great song. When that chandelier comes up and then down, great moments. There are moments of Phantom of the Opera where I was on the edge of my seat going, this is what musical theatre is. This is what musical theatre should always be. However, Music of the Night is fucking boring. And the plot lines don't always make sense. But Point No Return slaps. Time!
I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
Because your first one was unfortunately slaps.
That is true, though.
Yeah. And then Music of the Night and the plot lines.
I stand by all of those as my thoughts of Phantom of the Opera, so I'll drink for them. Just finish this.
Okay.
Right. I'm just going to get up a pen in case you get really deep on Andy.
I don't have the time to get deep on Andy.
You can get deep on Andy quite quickly.
I'll throw in one at the beginning.
Okay, ready?
Just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's what I felt like doing. I'm just going to state it here and then move on.
Yeah.
Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go.
I hate Andrew Lloyd Webber, but I think Phantom of the Opera is genuinely like almost the pinnacle of a mega musical. It has the perfect mix of incredible costume design, incredible set design, incredible actors all around. The score is incredible. The songs are incredible. Like as I said, Prima Donna, Wishing, Think of Me, every single Christine song, every single ensemble song. We hate Music of the Night, but that's a given. It's also just fun. I think if you go into it too seriously, it sucks.
You have to drink 3 times.
Easy.
I'm onto the cider now, lads.
I'm so nearly done with this glass.
Amazing. Let's remove.
I always feel like I treat Phantom of the Opera far too badly for how much I love it.
We're allowed to have weird opinions about things we love deeply, you know?
I'm always like even in the episode itself, I was always only getting like halfway through my thoughts.
Yeah, that's why we're probably going to re-record it at some point.
I need to re-record Phantom. It's generally the episode. I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Until the day before we released it.
Yes. I
was gonna text Esme and say, "Can we re-record Phantom? We can't release it how it is." And I never did because I felt bad.
I said she could have done, and I would have been like, "Fairs, we'll do it."
But I felt bad because genuinely, the time I worked up the most courage and got close to doing it was like the Sunday night. Well, I was like, we don't have enough time to do it anymore. Like, if I'd gotten this brave like 3 days ago, it would have been fine. but we didn't.
I would also like to redo it, and I'd probably redo the notes and restructure them. And I think probably if we're gonna do it, we'll probably end up doing it like next year. Like I can see us doing it next year.
Yeah, I think
I can see us like next summer when the dissertations are dissertationing, just being like, we just need to do something. Let's just fucking talk about Phantom for a couple of hours, switch our brains off.
okay, I can see us exam season of next year just spending a week straight recording, every day recording a new episode.
Yeah.
And then like doing no news for a month straight, just everything is pre-recorded. Doing at the end of that, doing a news episode of just everything that has happened over the past month, and then back to regularly scheduled stuff.
Because basically
we will not have the time or energy while we're doing disses.
The thing is that my diss is in like a month before your diss.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if there's like if like we decide to suddenly start tying up a ton of loose ends next summer, you guys will know why.
If you're suddenly seeing the Phantom re-record,
Pipeline,
the Hamilton, Dear Evan Hansen, Heather's Be More Chill re-record. Fuck, what else did we do at the beginning?
Hadestown Part 2.
Like Hadestown Part 2. My God, what else did we do at the beginning?
We did Hamilton, those 4, Newsies 6.
Newsies, I've got nothing more to say on Newsies.
6, I've got nothing more to say other than the fans need to grow up.
To be fair, by that point, we might end up doing like Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
Just because we can really half-ass it and just be like, here's what the book's about, here's what the musical's about, here's where it's different.
Hey,
we could go from here. Well, there's another ART Gatsby.
We could get something different. Sponsor of the podcast, my father, on, and he could just talk about Gatsby's symbolism. He's thinking about going to not New York, New Jersey, but like quite close to New York City, like 45 minutes by train. In November. And he was like, what Gatsby is on? Is it the good one or the bad one? And I went, no, you should just go see the bad one and tell me everything and bring me back a playbill. Bring back 2 playbills. One for me, one for you.
Playbill, some of the shitty Broadway merch.
Yeah, a drinking cup.
Drinking cup.
Selfie of you and Jeremy John.
We've done like 3 musicals.
We need to get everyone. It's Legally Blonde.
And we're already kind of drunk.
Yeah.
You can tell we're getting old because our tolerance is going up.
Anyway. So, I'll do Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde is the perfect movie to musical adaptation. It kind of started this trend back in 2008. I find it so fascinating with the like whole MTV of it all. However, I do think in its construction, it's a banger fucking musical. I was listening to So Much Better yesterday when I was severely hungover, and I felt like I could take on the fucking world. It is just outstanding, and I always get a chuckle out of Christian Borle and Laura Bell Bundy's affair jokes. Did I think they actually had an affair? I don't know. But other than that, it's just a banger musical, deeply feminist. I loved it so much. Time!
That's good.
You ready?
Yep.
Do you think I need to get a hater count up?
I don't think so.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
I love Legally Blonde. It is like the perfect early 2000s. It's in the same way that the movie is such just a feel-good and like hype movie. The musical is the exact same. Like, I put the songs on my getting ready playlist. I'm like, this is going to get me ready for the day, for the night, for everything. It's just, it's so simple. It's not trying to be anything too much, but it executes everything so perfectly that it's just so fun.
I think I should do a countdown on my Chrome so you can see.
I do feel I'm at a disadvantage
here.
Sorry,
that just really dawned on me. Let me get up a countdown.
It's fine. I was in time with that. I finished on fun as you said time.
Oh, okay, let's spin the wheel of doom.
Oh god.
Oh god, it's in the heights. It's in the heights. Okay.
As long as we don't bring up a certain someone, we'll be fine.
My boy Anthony. Rising movie star Anthony Ramos. The people of France know who Anthony Ramos is, allegedly. In the Heights is a banger fucking musical. It is an outstanding piece of theatre. I think it fucking slaps. I needed to walk somewhere really quickly on Friday, and I just played the opening of In the Heights because I think it's a perfect opening. There are parts of it that never fail to make me emotional. Abuela Claudia's death, I loved it because it's so well written and good, and I need a major revival of it because how we had a Lynn like renaissance of like this man is the god to musical theatre and not revived one of the best musicals ever written. I'm sorry. I was in time and didn't say anything bad. Woo! I'm still gonna drink. Right, you ready?
Yep.
Go.
I love In the Heights. I think it is, again, such a perfect mix of just like fun and like not even feel good isn't the right phrase, but like upbeat. like enjoyable to listen to music, as well as a like fun and consistent plotline. It's not too complex, even though there's a ton of stories going on, because they're all so centered in the same place, it works perfectly and it's also emotional. So it's never dull to listen to. It is perfect. It is so helpful being able to see the fucking timer.
Because I wouldn't actually listen to it, like watch it too much, but I would see it out of the corner of my eye and be like, oh my God. The first one we did, I was like, oh my God, we really don't have that much time. Like, I was so over that one. Right. Spinning in.
I saw.
Do you want me to tell you what it is then? So Daisy is Hamilton.
Is it? Sorry, I was doing my Duolingo real quick because you just froze for like 2 minutes straight.
No, it looked like it was about to be Tucker the last thing. I was like, no, and then it was Hamilton.
Okay.
Are you ready to discuss the beast that is Hamilton?
In 30 seconds.
Okay. Do you want me to go first then? Although I might be a bit,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You've got this, bro.
I don't know what's about to come out of my mouth. Right.
We love Hamilton, bro. Do you want me to get a hater score up?
Maybe, because I might bring up the slavery aspect. God, Hamilton's so weird.
We've got to re-record Hamilton soon.
We've got to re-record Hamilton. That will also be next summer.
In like a year, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Anyway.
To get In the Heights and Hamilton back to back.
Yeah.
The whole kind of Lin spectrum.
The Lin-Manuel Miranda. Right.
No, say it.
The Lin-Manuel Miranda canon. Like at this point.
Yeah, cinematic universe, if you will.
Cinematic universe. Well, he used the same actors. Anyway, Hamilton is objectively one of the best musicals ever written. I think it's absolutely outstanding. Unfortunately, every so often I do find myself revisiting it like I am 12 years old again. However, because it is so entrenched with how young I was and like how cringy I was when I first listened to it, as an adult, I can appreciate it for what it is, which is one of the best musicals ever written. However, I can see the fact that it is kind of weird that they're like platforming these slave owners and ignoring all of that around it. However, I do think it is outstanding. Love it so much. How much do I have to drink?
I'm gonna say 2.
Okay.
Because you talked about the slave owners, and then you also said, like, in the same sentence, unfortunately, and then talking about it being cringe.
Like, I was cringe, but I get it. I'll drink again.
Because I think I'm gonna say this. I can tell you right now, I'm gonna say the same thing.
Because
I'll be like, unfortunately, I do think it has very cringe undertones. Not undertones, but connotations.
I think, I don't know, I wonder if I like came to it now.
What's that fanfic? The AIDS one.
To Skin a Little Blue Sky. The fact that I can recall that off the top of my head.
What a time.
What a time. Anyway, you ready? I've got my pen. 3, 2, 1.
I think Hamilton is a genuinely incredible musical. I think it revolutionized how we view musical theatre and how musical theatre is done in general. I think, unfortunately, it was such a cult following that it created a very cringe fandom that we look back on like negatively. At the end of the day, that's not the worst thing in the world. Other musicals have done worse. I think its pros so vastly outweigh the cons of having a cringe teenage fan base.
You did go over a bit there. So you got to drink twice.
Twice, okay.
Like, I'm going to stay away from the fandom stuff because Be More Chill is on the wheel.
Well, here's the thing, Esme. I've been on Tumblr since about 2013.
Yeah, that is true.
So the fandom's kind of all I know.
Yeah, that's
Do you remember that when we started this podcast a year? This is just us reminiscing.
It was just
at the start of this podcast a year ago, Esme would do all the research, and she still does.
I love doing it though.
I'd just turn up and I'd be like, and on AO3,
they did this.
These are the top ships, and on Tumblr, here's what they talk about.
Yeah,
because that was all I could like recall off the top of my head. Now I'm slightly more mature about it.
The thing with like, I think when people hear that I do all the research, they're like, wow, that's so weird. I couldn't do what Nell does. If I went into these recording sessions blind, it would be horrific. I need to sit and think.
I realized this. I have a really, like, weirdly specific memory.
You do, yeah. It's really good for this.
Like, I will recall very specific things. Like, I might have done this with you, but I will say something to people where I'm like, oh, do you remember we were at this specific restaurant and we were sat in this specific seat because we were by the window overlooking this view and we had this specific meal? Do you remember what I was talking about that day? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about now?
Once you say all of that, I can prompt it, but I need a bit of more prompting than you do.
I just have a very, Like, I will associate things with other things so specifically that I can recall a lot.
Right, let's spin the wheel. Maybe it'll land on Hadestown now.
If it lands on the prom, I'm walking out.
Fuck, man. Right, I'm gonna go first, obviously. This is gonna be hard for me. I'm gonna take a drink before I do
You
this.
stop.
Mm.
I'm
Okay.
gonna need a hater thing, but
Okay.
I'll write one anyways.
Okay.
You know when you're getting drunk,
You just went, you know when you're getting drunk?
and it starts taking more effort to do very basic things?
Yes.
Like, I just went to write down Fun Home, and it took like 20 seconds.
That's me switching between these tabs and pressing a button right now. Okay. I'm gonna start the timer. I think Fun Home is an incredibly well-written musical. It sets out what it wants to do very well, and I like the fact that they had the three Allisons, and I think parts of that story are out fucking standing. However, this is a public service announcement. Nothing I said in that episode can be used against me in a court of law. I do not remember. I know it was 2 months ago. Don't ask. It's so intertwined in that part of time of my life now that I struggle to listen to it. But however, it is a great musical. Ring of Keys, Days and Days, Telephone Wild, great songs.
I don't think any of that was hater.
Okay, good. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Do I need to get a hater tally?
I don't think so.
Okay, is it being a hater against the theatre community or the show that we're hatering?
I think, for me, I counted you being a hater against 13 Reasons Why. It is just being negative
being a hater,
about something during these 30 seconds.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. I think, for me at least, everything to do with Fun Home is always going to be more about the emotional connection I have to it than anything regarding the musical. And so for me, that is what makes Fun Home such an incredible musical and such a personal musical to me, to the point where I don't care about any fandom or anyone else's interpretation of it, because to me, it is just a very personal musical and I love it for that.
Got it.
I did it.
Woo! I second that when we come to talk about Next to Normal. We want to fight everyone in the Next to Normal fandom because I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting it. I have an hypothesis about it. I have an interpretation of it. It's not an interpretation, it's a fact, but people don't like to say it. Anyway.
That's how I felt about Tuck Everlasting for a very long time. And I've gotten better at it now. But it's very much I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm right, they're wrong. Okay, I'm gonna start a hater tally right now.
Start a hater tally. It's the prom. Ready?
Fun Home into the prom is crazy.
One is exceptional, one is
crazy.
And I'm not count's not started, so I don't get a tally for that.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Where the fuck did the prom come from? It is really, it's not good. Fundamentally, it's not good. It can't work out what it wants to be. It's very much stuck in the middle of the road. It's sitting on both sides of the fence. And I'm sorry, but if you want to make a thing about washed up Broadway stars, make a thing about washed up Broadway stars. It would run for 6 months. If you want to make a thing about gay teens in Indiana, the home of Mike Pence, because you wanted to appeal to him, he's never going to be on your side. He's an evangelist. Then do that. Okay, how many times do I have to drink?
I'm gonna say 3.
Okay. I didn't make it through many points.
I feel like one of them was just a very long one.
Right, I've just done my drinks. Let me get up a hater tally for you. Ready?
That hater tally. Yeah.
Go.
I think the prom is, the simplest way I can put it is that it is so disappointing. In the same way that Dear Evan Hansen, I can see what it wants to do, and it has a good idea at the premise, it never fulfills on it. Like Esme was saying, if you're trying to appeal to the Republicans, like Mike Pence, they're never going to agree with you. So why are you going down this medium route of trying to be but both sides have a point, or we can change their minds? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It feels reductive. And it feels plain disrespectful to the lesbian community a lot of the time. And I'll finish my drink for that.
Yeah, you got 6. But one of them was for going over, because I was just going to let you run your mouth. I was explaining to someone, because the context of which we recorded that episode is I had to go to cabaret. And so if it seems like I'm absent, the plan always was just to let Nell run her fucking mouth. Because at the end of the day, I can critique with the message of it. But also, I'm not a lesbian, so I can't say about the representation aspect of it too much.
I am, so I can say about it.
So this is Nell's prerogative.
After we finish recording, and why it was the first thing I said, it's disappointing more than anything. In the way that Dear Evan Hansen is infuriating. This is just me going over again the time limit, so I'll drink again after this.
No,
I do just want to let everyone know when I opened my next Echo Falls bottle, it fizzed.
I don't think they're meant
Echo
to do
Falls
that.
isn't fizzy. It is a still wine.
We would know.
So
We're
I'm really
experts.
excited. This one is strawberry and lime, 9%. It's also been sitting in my fridge for a week. I liked this one more last time I drank it, more than the mango and melon one. So I'm excited for this one. Anyways, in the same way that David Hansen is infuriating for claiming to do something or starting to do something and never fulfilling it, the prom is disappointing for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Because there is so little other representation, specifically for lesbians, and especially for teen lesbians going through that specific period. Because Fun Home, to me at least, has always been more focused on adults. Has been like teens watching it, but then watching it as being like, when I'm an adult, it will be better. Because I'll have figured myself out, it will all be better. The prom is meant to be when you are a teen, it will still be better. You can be fine as a teen. You don't have to just get through this. You can live, you know, which is an important message. But because there is so little representation for that specifically, and that specifically as well for lesbians in conservative areas, because everything it does is so lackluster and so half-hearted, it does nothing at all. And I, in the nicest way possible, to what I'm sure could be a great musical, and what did do a lot of good when it was on Broadway.
I mean, that Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade did get conversations started, but that was because they only chose to show that one number. If they showed any else of it, nothing else would have happened. And also to your point about comparing a Fun Home is also quite, I wouldn't say preoccupied because it is based on Alison Blackdall's real life, who I really enjoy. I love her. I think she's a very interesting woman. It's also based on her family and her father specifically, and her relationship with him, almost figuring that out more than her coming of age is a big part of it, but you know what I mean when I'm saying this. It's not so strictly focused on being a lesbian.
It's about being a person over being a lesbian, whereas the prom is specifically about being a lesbian, but is done so poorly.
Obviously, Fun Home is a better musical over the prom any day of the week.
Yeah. And again, I do genuinely want to like the prom. I wish I could like the prom. There are certain songs I do like. Again, everything between the two fucking lesbians, I forget their names. Emma and Alyssa. All of their songs I find really good. And I even think the premise of the washed up Broadway stars is really good.
Make it its own show.
I just think, like trying to slam them both together to be like, here's this really fun show about this really fun topic that we could expand on more, but we're actually going to not, because we want to half-heartedly explore like queer rights. Again, the best word is just, it is disappointing in like every aspect.
I think calling it an industry plant was the smartest thing you ever did.
It's an industry plant. How do you get a movie in like a year?
That's
crazy.
Anyway, I refused to kind of finish the research for that because I got to the point where I was discussing James Corden queer baiting discourse, and I was like, I want to kill myself.
It was also because like the week before, at the end of the episode, I was like, so why don't you like the prom? And I went for like an hour just like ranting about it, being like, I hate the prom. This is why it's an industry.
It's the most research Nell has done, like on like.
None of it was research. It was me sitting there and being like, and this is another reason.
Well, no, because you were pulling up reviews and you were going, none of the thing that really clicked it in for me. Obviously, I was listening to you and being like, yeah, you're making points. But it was when you went, I'm reading the reviews right now, and the only one that mentions the word lesbian is that Time Out review.
Yeah. The thing was, none of the reviews were like missing points about the show. Like, it's not like they were just glossing over the fact that it was about lesbians. It's just the fact it was about lesbians was such a minuscule part of the show that it didn't matter in the reviews.
Yeah.
But that's ridiculous.
It is, because
market your show towards like young queer kids, especially young lesbians who don't have any representation, I will say again and again. And then for it to be such a insignificant part of the actual story, besides being like, we can't have a prom, that you don't need to mention it in reviews,
and also
is ridiculous, is disappointing.
Yeah.
Above all, I hate it. I'll drink again for that.
I'll drink again as well. I also engaged in your rant. Oh, we're getting close to it. It's time!
Guys, before we start, I have some incredible.
Wait, no, can we be nice? Can we be nice before we start my hateration?
I would rather get this out the way first because we will be nice for the rest of it.
Okay.
And I'm in a hater mood after
It's
the start.
Hades Town.
It's Hades Town. Okay. Allegedly. And I have seen the photos that someone else put on like Reddit.
I've not. I refuse to.
Esme wouldn't let me show them to her.
I won't.
This is all alleged.
I live in bliss.
Allegedly. Reeve Carney of Hades Town.
And being a devil
Reeve Carney of Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Of the I Knew You Trouble music video. Because the thing with that music video is it's so un-Taylor-like. In her own words, she was very much going for this 1950s twee aesthetic. And so then all of a sudden she's like, actually, I'm in the desert with John Mayer reincarnate, allegedly. Yeah.
That's allegedly for a different reason, by the way.
Different reason.
That's Swiftie, allegedly.
That's Swiftie, allegedly. John Mayer, don't come after me.
Basically, Reeve Carney, in 2008, around that time period, allegedly dated Lana Del Rey. Ismay is furious over this fact.
Okay, so at the start of when was it? Hairspray, now had just informed me of that, so that's why I'm in a horrible mood at her, because I could have gone my whole entire life without ever knowing that piece of information and been so much happier for it. And then like she was like, you're gonna cut it. And then when I got to editing, I was like, no, this is actually kind of funny, because do you want to share the other piece of information, which is more interesting to me?
Jimmy. Basically, Reeve Carney then also had a friend called Jimmy Nyeka.
Allegedly, Jimmy Gekno, do not come after me.
Him and Reeve Carney are friends. Like, they have performed together on stage.
Again, I've not seen this.
They are friends.
I don't need to see this.
But allegedly, and this one I have no proof for, it is fully just someone on, like, a Lana Del Rey forum from 2010 said it, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll believe that.
Well, no, because there's a song named Jimmy Gekno. That's how I know his name. I haven't seen those photos or those clips. There was an unreleased Lana Del Rey song from about 2008 called Jimmy Gekno, and she is constantly banging on about a guy named Jimmy. I mean, most normally in A&W, she went, Jimmy, Cocoa Pop, Jimmy, Ride, Jimmy, Love Me When You Want to Get High. Your mom called, I told her I'm fucking up big time in A&W, one of the best songs ever.
Anyways, basically, they were friends, and Lana Del Rey allegedly also dated Jimmy.
I'm gonna say she definitely dated that man. Like, she's written a song about it, and it's been leaked.
Yeah. But that was my fun fact, and I told it to Esme right before we started recording Hairspray. And I don't know how much of it got cut, but during the news section, like every 5 seconds, I'd be like, and by the way, to try and get her to keep it in. And I don't actually know if it got kept in or not.
No, I told you I didn't keep it in, but should I tell you why? Because in the first 5 minutes, we cannot be saying stuff that we found on the deep depths of Reddit. An hour in or whatever, how long this is into the episode, we can say shit like this.
For reference, I use Ecosia as my search engine because I love the planet and I want to plant trees and I care about global warming and stuff. And on Ecosia, when you search up Reeve Carney, one of the autofills, and I want to make clear, I don't listen to Lana Del Rey. I'm not a Lana Del Rey fan.
See, me and her sister are really into Lana, and so when she told
me and my sister would be really good friends if I didn't get in the way of them.
The thing, and now also told her sister, and she was more interested by the Jimmy of it all doing.
But basically, it's not like on the depths of Reddit. When on Ecosia you put in the name Reeve Carney, one of the autofills is Reeve Carney Lana Del Rey. And I was like, why does Reeve Carney Lana Del Rey come up? So I clicked on it, and suddenly there were all of these pictures of them hanging out. And I was like, Esme, I've just seen some incredible pictures. And she didn't want to hear it.
No, I was going, la 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 la, I don't want to know. But if anyone would like my lyrical analysis of the whole Jimmy situation, because Jimmy, I believe, in some cases is a real person on ultraviolence, I don't think so. I think she might be talking about Jim Manson. Or, like, some people think she's talking about Jim Jones.
I'm agreeing, like, I know what any of this is.
I think A&W is still alleged. Lana Del Rey's a stage name. Lana Del Rey's a constructed persona. I think A&W, and then I also think How to Disappear, parts of that's about him.
Anyways, let's talk about Hadestown.
Talk about something we love, Hadestown. Right, ready?
In 30 seconds.
Hadestown is a perfect example of me of a story entering my life when I really needed it. Like, I needed to sit in that theatre and just hear those words. And it's one of the best musicals this century so far, in my opinion. Like, I think it is an outstanding piece of theatre. It's so well thought out. It's so incredibly creatively staged. I think it is outstanding in what it has to say about politics, and it doesn't feel too preachy. However, that music, it slaps, and oh my god, when they say Orpheus can make you see how the world could be, can you feel it, can you hear it, can you see it, I've gone over, I know. However, this musical is outstanding, and I convince everyone in my life to go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No haters, just over the time limit.
I'll drink twice for that. Anyway, go. You ready?
Yeah. I love Hadestown. I think it is such a good musical, and every single part of it is thought through so perfectly that there's like no loose ends, there's no plot points that feel unfinished. It's such a simple story. It's obviously one of the most like well-known love stories in the world, but it's just executed so perfectly in such a way that it can make you really think without actually requiring you to think too much. Like it's not, I know I've gone over.
Yeah, I know.
Doing anything crazy. It's not trying to use like extensive metaphors or confusing like metaphors to get a point across. It is literally just saying, what if you love someone so much that you would do anything for them, that you would try and change the world for them, and the world forced you not to be able to do that? Wouldn't you want to change the world? And you walk out of it and you're going, we need to overthrow the government.
I think what strikes me the most about Hadestown is what it has to say about political change is so incredibly true and so incredibly nuanced and so incredibly, especially for me.
Yeah.
Because the strand of politics that I study is incredibly depressing. It is like, here's how we fix like all the ills of the world, and here's why we don't.
Yeah.
And so hearing a story like Hadestown was exactly what I needed to hear, like when I heard it.
Like, I think I forget how crushing his Kiss the Riot is.
Oh.
Because even though Wait For Me Reprise is really like upbeat and like it's in a major key, I think, it feels hopeful.
Banger of a tune.
The whole thing with like Word to the Wise and his Kiss the Riot is that all of it is about, objectively, it would be the right thing to do to let this guy go. It would help my wife love me again. It would bring peace back to the world. Everything would be all right again. And yet I'm not going to, because it might lose me my money-making business. And like it's, again, even though I think the political points and like the conversation it's trying to create are pretty complex, at no point does it feel confusing. Anyway, I love it. I will drink again for going even further over the time limit. Anais Mitchell, call me. Need to talk to you for my dissertation.
When Nell gets really into Hadestown political theory.
My dissertation is going to be called something ridiculous, like the way the world could be. And then the politics of my dissertation has to be on the politics of feeling. It's going to be like the way the world could be, and then the politics of feeling in modern media. Like that's gonna be my dissertation.
Mine's gonna
I'm saying it while drunk, but that's gonna be my dissertation. And it's gonna have like an interview with Anais Mitchell. That's manifesting.
My dissertation's gonna be about why in the UK we stigmatise the poor so much. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. It's a year out, but we've both got ideas. Well, moving on.
I'm meant to be doing prep for it. I'm not.
I have not even started.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. No.
It's still spinning for me.
It's Amelie. Yeah, we can get into this about much chat. I think Amelie is very, especially in the UK version, which I've seen, is very good at knowing what it wants to do and succeeding that. It very much takes the more whimsical and larger than life aspects of the movie and really runs with it. I definitely understand why they completely reworkshopped it the second that they like came off Broadway. I do think it's a shame that it didn't run for longer. I do kind of understand why though, like in the context of what was going on.
Yeah.
Right. You ready?
Yeah, I love Amelie. I think it's so whimsical. I think it's so fun. I love the movie. I love the original Broadway production. I've never actually seen the West End production. I had to give my ticket away, but I'm sure I would have loved it. I think it's just such a simple concept that is just executed so well and in such an entertaining way that it's hard to dislike in any way. I just think it's fun, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't get the point for coming on that because you were right on the money. Right.
good.
What up next? I'm trying to think what else could be like hard to do. Fuck. No. Okay, we're good. Shit, man.
But
Yeah.
I don't remember ever doing this episode. Like, I'm aware we did it. I'm aware we talked about it. I have no memory of actually doing it.
I that's like me with a lot of the shows we did like later on in the year. I was like, I have no idea. I could have said anything in those.
For me, pretty much every show I have some memory of doing it. Like, even
Mm,
if it's just, I remember like sitting down and talking about it. I don't remember
yeah.
what I said. That's Cinderella. I have no memory of it.
I remember driving
Like,
myself
we did it
insane
in
over that
October
episode.
because it was like as a joke, it was gonna be like, oh, it's like a spooky musical.
It's the scariest show of all.
It's scary. But I just have no memory of doing it.
No, should I start then?
Yeah,
You might. Oh, wait. I'm gonna reset because you're gonna need to get a hate counter up.
that's
Ready?
yeah.
I enjoyed whoever got drunk off his own power with this one. I don't know what he was thinking from start to finish. The whole show is actually quite bad. Toenail to Tash is definitely a lyric this man wrote. However, what was more interesting to me was the media circus he started. He threatened to take on the Tory government over this. And then he threatened his crew from his holiday house in Mallorca. Andy, get a fucking grip, mans. Also, like, when I went to Broadway, it was hilarious 3 months, but I do feel bad for them at the end of the day. However, I do forget that it was ever on Broadway or it was real. How many times do I have to drink?
I would say only four.
Okay.
I don't think him taking on Tory is a negative.
No, it was just more entertaining.
Just a statement.
Just a thing he did in his spare time. Oh, the joys of Andy. Right, okay. Ready?
Yes.
Got a pen and pen. Go.
I have very little memory of the show besides the kind of cultural phenomenon of it. I don't like, beside it just being a pretty bad show, I don't think there was anything ever stand out about it. It had some good cast members, and I assume some good songs somewhere, and I assume it was camp. It wasn't ever stand out in any way.
You have two.
I think that's my issue. Like, looking back on it,
Mm.
it's just kind of forgettable more than anything. At the
I
time, it was a big deal. A month after it closed, it just didn't do anything anymore. Like, we'll still bring up things like King Kong and Spider-Man and Town of the Dark for being like, and Carrie for being
yes.
notorious flops.
Do you remember
But
though?
Cinderella is just kind of forgettable.
That's what makes it such a bad flop, is it's just forgettable. Do you remember that conversation we had while it was still running on Broadway of could we physically get ourselves to New York for a day just to go see Bad Cinderella?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I think
think
that was the thing as well. When it was on the West End, I had no knowledge of it ever actually being open.
I remember hearing about it a lot, but never like what. My thing about Cinderella was like I knew the ticket prices were going to drop, and then it did drop, but then it closed suddenly, so I never saw it.
Yeah.
But I wish I kind of did for the novelty of saying I saw Cinderella.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's spin the wheel again. Fuck cola. Wait,
Easy.
ready?
Am I
You might
starting?
need, you might need to get a hate counter up. It's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor
Yeah,
Dreamcoat.
yeah.
You're gonna one more person at home. You're gonna need to get a hate counter up for this one. I do not remember anything I said in this episode. I did this episode notes in a haze. All I remember is that when I saw a production of it, it was incredibly racist, and I understand what it was like in the context of the 70s. It makes complete and total sense. I like the idea of schools having a musical with a recognizable name and a recognizable story to do. However, in execution, I think we need to evaluate it. The 12 slaps and the mega mix also slaps. The coat, I mean.
Honestly, gonna say only one.
Okay, for calling it racist.
Yeah. Like, everything else was less hater.
You ready?
Yeah.
I've got a pen.
I completely disagree with Esme. And I think Joseph is really fun.
Yeah.
And I think talking about like, well, it's kind of racist. Obviously it is. It's Andrew Lloyd Webber in the 70s. No shit. But I think it's simplistic, it's fun, it's colorful, obviously. It's a recognizable story, especially for like British school kids. It's from the Bible. I just think it's if you're expecting it to be good, you don't understand what Joseph is. And I will drink for going over.
And you'll drink
And
for
how
calling it racist.
twice. Is calling it racist being a hater though? Let's discuss this while we wait
Yeah.
for it to spin.
We got given hater points for calling Hamilton a racist. I like this. It's the last 5 years. I think it's very brave of Jason Robert Brown to write a musical
Hater.
about his own divorce.
That is hater.
Um, I think it's an incredibly well-written musical. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the score. When I did see it live, though, something got lost in translation, I think, because I saw it in quite a big West End theatre. Like, I really do enjoy the movie with Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan. I have massive questions about how it's going to transfer to Broadway, though. How many times do I have to
Like
drink?
2,
Okay.
3 if you want to drink more, just about the questioning Broadway.
Let's
I don't
finish
think that's
this.
being a hater.
I'll
That's
finish this.
yeah.
I'll get up a hate count as well.
Yeah.
Go.
I think that what the last 5 years does is really incredible. I think it's such a fun way to tell a story and is very revolutionary. However, I think that the story it's trying to tell is so clearly influenced by the writer that it's hard to take seriously beyond that. It's not trying to have a conversation about relationships. It feels like Jason Robert Brown trying to have a conversation about himself.
You have to drink twice.
Okay.
Anyway, let's continue on. Right. Remove. Okay. Go. Okay.
I like this one.
I like this one as well. Okay, it's Matilda. It's Matilda. I love Matilda. I've always had a very strong affiliation with the story. It's very impactful to me. I think that the Tim Minchin story does the book a lot of justice. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings around Roald Dahl as a person, obviously. However, it is a story that I love very deeply and I care about a lot, and I think he really does do it justice. That moment when I grew up was one of the best moments I ever experienced in a theatre when I was like quite young, so I always have to love it, and I just think it's amazing.
I'm gonna say 1 for the comment on Roald Dahl, but also that's
Okay.
not being a hater. That's being truthful. So you don't have to drink if you don't want to.
I'll just drunk. I have my collection of Roald Dahl stories because they mean a lot to me, and I don't ever want to give that man money again. You know?
It's like, to be fair, that's kind of how I feel about J.K. Rowling. Like, I fucking hate her to hell and back.
Yeah. Well, she has black marriage.
That's crazy. Like, I hate her to hell and
crazy.
back, but I do have really fond memories of her.
Anyway. You ready?
Yes. I love Matilda. I think it is such a perfect, like, first musical for kids. And it was also the musical that made me want to like do musical theatre and made me interested in musical theatre as a whole thing. And I genuinely think if I ever got a role in musical theatre, I would love to be Miss Honey. I would love to be like any character in Matilda. I think it's just such a nostalgic musical, and I don't think there's anything to critique on it because it's just so nice.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you a drink for that because
yeah. I'm realizing I'm trying to find like one word adjectives for each musical.
Yeah, like to sum it up.
Yeah, like Matilda is nice.
Yeah.
The Prom was disappointing.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
At least it's not the one next to it.
I know.
Come From Away. Right, I'll start. Come From Away is a very well told story. It would be so easy to do it in a different way, but the way it's done is so impactful and moving, and that score is outstanding and so interesting in places, and it really knows when to pack a punch, and it could be such a depressing and hard story to adapt to a musical. However, the way they do it is so meaningful and respectful of everything that happened. I think it's an outstanding piece of theatre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not being a hater. Right, really?
Yeah.
Go.
I think Come From Away is the perfect musical adaptation of a tragedy and of a like significant event. It doesn't focus so much on the tragedy that it's trying to get into like shock factor. And it's such a significant event that it doesn't need to tell you the entire story and let you know what has happened. It can really like take a step back and focus on the important parts of community and helping each other, which I think is an important message.
Yeah.
You can tell we're getting drunker because we're having less conversations around each spin before it.
I'll start. Something Rotten is an incredibly funny musical. Again, it's another hard concept, but like, oh, I just did it so well, man. Like, I mean, Shakespeare as a rock star is incredibly effective. Like, that man is just so funny. I think the concerts in the UK have gone down about as well as you expected because we are quite precious about Shakespeare over here, believe it or not. Right Hand Man slaps. Nick Bottom's a great name. What else can I say about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
I don't think I need to get up a hater tally.
No.
If I start dropping my T's, this is how I normally talk. I just like to clean it up a bit for the podcast.
Esme has a really thick, like, London accent, usually.
Yeah, normally,
I think I do too, to be fair.
I think in real life we both kind of have like a thicker one, but like
Yeah.
on the
I think
podcast,
in real life we both do have a thicker one. It's just when we're on the podcast
when
we
we're on
don't
the
use it.
podcast, we do clean it up a bit, and you can all up a bit.
We do clean it up a bit.
We do clean it up a bit, but when we're in,
But like,
when
really, we do actually have a London accent because we are from London and all that.
but when I get annoyed, I do like.
But when I get annoyed and when I'm like a little drunk, I do end up actually like talking like I'm from London because I am from London and all that. And you know, like in it.
My mate did an impression of me the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is how I actually chat."
I like told a friend, I was like, I actually don't think I have that strong of like a London accent. Like, I think I sound pretty like RP most of the time.
Yeah, same.
And they were like, "No, you have like one of the thickest London accents I've ever."
Yeah, my mate was like,
What
she
are
did
you
an impression
talking
of me.
about?
She did an impression of me, yeah. And she went, "Oh my god," and I was like, "Oh my god, man."
Whenever I do the roadman voice as a joke, they're like, "Oh my god, how are you so good at that?" That was my fucking neighbor. That was
Like,
my
I'm
best
sorry.
friend in high school.
Was it? Was it not? I mean, we know we have thick accents, but let's not get into accents. Anyway, Something Rotten.
Something Rotten.
Go.
I love Something Rotten. I think it's really fun. I think it's just the kind of thing that you would never think of to do, but the second it was done, it just made so much sense. I think it's a fun way in some ways to get like, I wouldn't say kids because it is kind of more like PG-13 than kids. But to get people who have that weird thing about, I don't like Shakespeare, I like musicals, which are contemporary and modern, into something classic, which they do need to know. I think it's fun. It's fun. That's all I want to say. It's fun.
It's fun. That's the adjective.
Fun.
It's fun. It's fucking fun, man.
Something rotten. I need to remember all of these, and at the end, I'm gonna do a like great comic prologue style thing.
I want to do like what was our favorite episode to do? What was our least favorite episode to do?
My God.
Oh, it's time.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah. It's the Great British Bake Off! Okay, I'll start. What a great musical. Like, I don't know what else to say other than it is a great fucking musical. Like, at the end of the day, it has its issues. Don't get me wrong, you might just get a hater tally. It has its issues, but deep within there is a good musical. And I'm just annoyed because they didn't have a better place to workshop it. Because at the end of the day, it could have been something that ran for a while or a lot longer than it actually did. Oh my god, I sound so West London right now. No, but it is a good musical. It's funny, it's fun, it's fresh.
I'm gonna say 3, but it was just the way you kept going. At the end of the day, yeah, it's like a good musical. At the end of the day, it's good, you know? At the end of the day, it's good.
That is how I genuinely talk in our day-to-day life about the Great British Bake Off musical, though. It's guys, this is not a voice I'm putting on. This is genuinely how I talk.
Unfortunately, this is how we talk.
Yeah, it's a curse.
Unfortunately, yeah. At the end of the day, is how we talk.
Hi, all Americans.
Hi, Americans from Utah and Arizona.
And Los Angeles. We do say
Los Angeles.
We do say bottle of water.
Bottle of water.
Yeah. Bottle of water.
I love the Great British Bake Off the musical. I think it's really fun. I think it's heartwarming. I think it's kind of the perfect British musical in a lot of ways. And I think all of its shortcomings and all of the points that feel undeveloped could have been fixed so easily if it didn't go straight to the West End. So for my hater point, I want to say fuck Heathers for keeping the other palace for 5 years straight when musicals could have gone there to like develop themselves.
You have to drink twice because you did go over that time by quite.
At the end of the day, yeah, that's
At the end
worth
of the
it.
day, yeah, like it's a good musical.
That's worth
Um,
it, innit?
Also, if you heard my dog shouting in the background, it's just Wolf. He is about 2 inches tall. Have you seen what the wheels selected?
I see what's on the fucking screen.
It's Groundhog. Groundhog Day is one of the greatest
I'm
musicals
gonna
I've ever
listen to Groundhog
seen,
Day.
like ever. I think it's outstanding. I loved the cast recording for a while, but it didn't really like it wasn't ever one that I loved. And then I saw it live, and at the end of the first act, I remember because we were there with like two other people, and we all just looked at each other like, "This is good." But by the end, but when we all walked out of that theater, we all had a moment of, "Holy shit, we've just seen something incredibly, incredibly special." There was a moment during Hope specifically where I was so gagged by what was happening in front of me. I'm going over. I know I'll drink for this. However, Hope is one of the greatest theatrical sequences I've ever seen with my own two eyes. I am normally someone who can work out what the theatrical ability is behind something. However, this time I just couldn't. Anyway, that's my piece on Groundhog Day. I'll drink twice for going over. Anyway, your turn.
Yes.
Go.
I love Groundhog Day, the musical, so much. I had never seen Groundhog Day, the movie. I knew the premise, but going into it and just seeing it and seeing Andy Carl, it was just such an incredible experience. I think it's like such an incredibly technical show that it's so enjoyable to watch. Like, all the thing is so emotional. Like, it's gonna make me sound very West London, but like so deep in what it's trying to say. I love it. I'm gonna listen to it after this.
Yeah, you don't get a point for going over.
Groundhog Day changed my life.
I had to kind of beg now to go with me because I had an extra ticket, and then it changed my
I
life.
actually, about 5 minutes before it started, I was gonna go home because I had a headache.
You did have a really
And
bad
instead we
headache.
left the theatre to go and I had like we had seen Barbie earlier that day. I had a horrible headache. And I was gonna go home. I was gonna be like, I'm so sorry, give the ticket to someone else, get someone else here.
Yeah.
I'm going home. And instead, one of the other did I buy it? No, I think Karis bought it.
Karis did. Shout out to our dear friend Karis.
Shout out to Karis. She went and bought me paracetamol from a Tesco across the road, gave me some of her water.
She
Let
always
me
has
take it.
water. She's
She
just one of
always
those
has
people.
water. Like, let me take my paracetamol. And then was like, you're watching this. And I did, and it changed my life. And I love Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And when I was in Japan, like, listened to it on a loop.
I got a text from Nell being like, I have a Groundhog Day problem. I check AirBuds, and it is all that woman had listened to.
To be fair, for like 3 days straight, my Spotify was acting up, and it was the only thing I had downloaded. And we were on like the Shinkansen for like most of that time.
Yeah.
It was the only thing I could listen to, but it wasn't entirely my fault.
I was thinking the other time I got blackout drunk and just listened Groundhog Day for like 4 hours.
I need to listen to it again. I've been neglecting it.
Anyway, spin the wheel. Chapel Row, and if you want to come to Broadway, you could do anything.
Please.
Fuck. Fuck. Fuck.
Okay. Easy.
Okay.
My handwriting is getting increasingly worse.
My handwriting is so shit to begin with. Right, go. Be More Chill is the weirdest musical of all fucking time. How the fuck did that shit get to Broadway? It's not a good musical. However, the fandom culture that it bred is increasingly fascinating to me the further and further we get away from it. There are some days where I forget that it is a real musical and not a figment of my own imagination. I saw someone say the other day that Be More Chill was underrated, and at first I was like, Be More Chill is not underrated, and then I thought the kids today weren't online at the same time I was online, you know? And so then Be More Chill was a wasteland because no one gives a shit about it.
I'm gonna say 2.
You know, well, dear friend Karis actually listened to that episode and she was like, yeah, you guys had no idea how to talk about it because there's nothing to talk about. And I was like, thanks, Karis.
That's why we've got to re-record it.
No, she's like,
now
your
that we've done
fandom.
like 50 other musicals.
Yeah, she's like,
here's Be More Chill.
Your fandom stuff is good. I agree with you. How do you talk about the actual text?
You're welcome
Yeah.
on the fandom stuff.
Ready? I've got a haze count
Yes.
up. Go.
I think Be More Chill is fun. I think stuff like More Than Survive and a lot of the songs, I love the songs. I think they're really fun. It's just so forgettable in the grand scheme of musicals that it was like involved in. Like, I think we said it during the fandom part of that episode, that it was just purely used as like crossover material. like being like, I wonder if these guys were there. Feels so weird to talk about because nothing ever really happened with it.
Yeah, you have two for calling it forgettable and going over.
I think that's my thing. I like Be More Chill.
Michael in the Bathroom is a banger tune. Yeah, I'll
Michael
give
in
you
the
that.
Bathroom, more than Survive.
I Love Play
Upgrade.
Rehearsal
I like
by Oscar nominee Stephanie Sue.
oh my God. Fucking Do You Wanna Ride? The
However, I
slot,
however I do forget it is real.
it does feel like a figment of my imagination a lot of the time. I might listen to that. I'm gonna have a rotation of just like Groundhog Day and Be More Chill songs.
Unhinged. Me in
The
2017,
second
actually.
we hit Anastasia, I'm gonna add Anastasia into that.
Me in 2017, that's what I was bumping. Anyway, ready? It's Addams Family.
Yeah.
Addams Family is objectively a good kids musical. I have weird feelings about it because I did it myself, and so yeah, but a lot of it is good music. It's good modern pop musical theatre that doesn't feel too try hard. I am struggling to talk about it a little bit because it is so wrapped up in my own personal experiences, but that is probably because it is one of the most done shows in the world, and I think it is very successful in what it tries to do.
I was gonna say drink for being under the time limit because about like 20 seconds of it was you going, it has good
I'll
music
drink for that.
and is fun. I'm gonna have the exact same problem. I have nothing to say about this.
How did we string together an episode on that?
The Addams Family, I think, is a good music. I think it's fun. There is not a ton to say on it. It's a good song. I guess everything else to me is kind of forgettable. And it's just kind of I did that when I was in like primary school.
Yeah. You get a point for calling it forgettable. I'm surprised I didn't call it forgettable because
Yeah.
the thing with Pooled is it's taken on a life outside of the Addams Family that I can't avoid it from.
My only thing with Paul that I like seriously remember is that it wasn't on Spotify for the longest time.
Yes,
It
the
like did
entire
not
Addams
exist.
Family didn't exist on Spotify. I debated putting this one on
I
the list. Should we each do 15 for this one?
no.
Okay.
If you're under 15, you have to drink. And we're both
It's
gonna drink.
it's the Ratatouille. My biggest memory of the Ratatouille is the pandemic, which I don't remember a lot of because I think I blocked out due to trauma. However, it was a fun, fresh time at New Year's because we all looked inside our houses. I did do a bit of a stand-up set with my parents about a mic that someone brought over about the Ratatouille, and they were thoroughly confused. That's all I have to say. Under the Shields was a legend for being in it, though. I'll drink now because I've still got a lot of time left.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the Ratatouille is fun. I have like fond memories of it. I was never actually that into it or like involved in it in any ways. I saw like the opening number and I saw that Kevin Chamberlain was in it. And generally that was it. I didn't know Andre de Shields was in it until like really late, like after it had closed. Um, I think it's fun. I think it's the same thing we said in the episode. Not a ton to say on it.
There's a reason we put it with another musical.
Which there was more to say about because there was a legal case about it.
I think about that legal case every day and it removed cut from the way.
Oh, so.
Right, I'll go first. It's Into the Woods. I love Into the Woods. It's my favorite Sondheim. I know it's basic, but however, seeing that show in previews on Broadway was one of like defining moments of my life. It's another instance of the story entering my life when I really needed it to. I think it's such a well-written score, and especially for like female roles, The Baker's Wife and Little Red, their songs are exceptional. I really love what they like. I Know Things Now is such a great coming of age song. I think it's just an absolute banger. I love it so much. Like, it's amazing. No.
London, like halfway through.
You what?
You went like so West London, like halfway through.
Right, let's talk about Waitress. I love Waitress. I think it's a great example of a musical being able to balance the comedy with the drama, and I think it is a very effective way of telling a story that's so complex and nuanced like this. That score is amazing. It is so good and so listenable, and I think that's what enabled it to take on a life of its own outside of musical theatre. Fun fact, that's how I say musical theatre in my daily life.
Musical theatre.
You Choose Me Mine is a classic for a reason. That score is exceptional.
Whenever I ask Esme what theatre we're seeing something at, it's like we're seeing at the Wyndham's Theatre, the Lyric Theatre.
That's genuinely how I say it.
I always compare Waitress to Margaret Atwood, weirdly enough, and The Handmaid's Tale, because I think it does a really good job at not comparing, at presenting complex female characters who aren't good people, but we want to root for. And I think it's a really weird aspect of feminism, and it's done in such a good way, specifically in Waitress, where you like these characters even though they are doing bad things, purely because we are presented to them. And I know I'm going to go over the time limit here, but I think that's really important because a woman specifically isn't just deserving of love and respect and like decency because she is a good person. And I think Jenna's a good example of that. She does cheat on her husband. She is aware she's cheating with a married man.
And she knows
But
it's a bad idea.
it is a bad idea. But ultimately, she is still deserving of being treated decently, not how she's treated by Al. And we want that for her, even though she is not a good person. And I will drink for going over the time limit.
Okay, so it's Six now. Six is a musical that I've been following for probably longer than most people in this podcast who are listening to this have been following, because I heard about it when it was like starting to become a phenomenon, like way before that. However, I do think it is quite effective about what it's trying to do. I don't think Nell's Wine's good. I have a poster of it right above my computer. I look at it every single day like that. However, I think what it's devolved into the fandom around it, I can't get behind, and that does kind of unfortunately tint my perception of it a little bit. You ready to talk about Six?
That was such a good speech. Hold on.
Okay, go.
Six, the music. I think it's fun. I think it's nice to have shorter shows, especially ones that are presented like a concert. And I think it did a good job of like presenting some pretty classic British history in a fun way. I'm very aware of my accent right now. By doing it in a way that was appealing to the rest of the world as well. It didn't do a ton in terms of like activism, but it's fine. I'm gonna drink because I definitely went over.
I think my thing with Six is that like it's such a classic British story to me that seeing it recontextualized was something so new and novel. And now I'm just like it's become so far past that I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think it's just Six has never really been my favorite musical. Like I like the songs, I think the songs are good, but I've never had enough of a connection to it to care about it.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen it live.
I don't think you need to at this point though. You know what
Yeah.
happens. Because I saw it live when it was still like before it had even gone to America, and there were still so many questions about whether or not it could go to America. You know?
I think it's just like the one thing I do feel pretty strongly about is just it's the Broadway production should do British accents. That is my thought. I think it's ridiculous that they don't do British accents when it is a British story.
Yeah.
We do American accents for Hamilton.
Exactly. Oh, thank God we avoided it. Oh no. Oh no. It's the unofficial British musical. Okay. Novel concept. I'm really happy that they won the Grammy and all, especially against like Les Mis and Andy's bullshit with Cinderella. However, how the fuck do you fumble a bag that hard? They're obviously smart girls. Barlow and Bear are smart fucking girls. Who in the world told them you're gonna need to get a hater counter up? Who in the world told them that it was a good idea to not take that fucking licensing deal from Netflix and go ahead with those Kennedy Center performances with Leo Pfeiffer and Kelly O'Hara and Ephraim Sykes?
I'm gonna say 4, but that's just purely based on my own kind of drunk memory. What
that sounds about right. I stand by that though. Like,
yeah,
ready, okay.
Yeah.
I've got a hair counter up in case you need it.
My I think that the unofficial British musical is fun. I think it's a good idea. I think especially in lockdown, we saw a lot more of people taking regular media and turning it into musicals, writing songs for it. And I think that's really fun. I think it's a nice way to get musical theatre back into mainstream. And especially considering the re-explosion around Hamilton with the pro shop. I think again the problem with Bridgerton is despite how good it was, it just seems stupid to not take the deal. About 2 sentences of that were about Bridgerton.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not a great musical. I got my mate's opinion on it who loves Bridgerton, and she was like, this is shit.
The wine and coke is growing on me. It's tasting better every sip.
That's how alcohol tends to work, in my opinion, though.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's Oklahoma.
Esme, take this one away.
When I sat down and I watched that production of Oklahoma, it changed my life, honestly. I walked out of that theatre being so confused, and then the next day I was like, wait, I think I understand it, but I also need to really go visit that. I don't want to see normal Oklahoma. I only want to see weird Oklahoma. It is so interesting and immersive, and it really opened my eyes as to what a good revival can be, because I've never really been a revival girl like that. But when you have a revival like that, that completely revolutionizes it and recontextualizes it and modernizes it and does something really interesting with the piece. Shut up, Wolf. It's amazing. Wolf is my dog who's on my bed.
One drink for insulting Wolf.
He's an annoying fucker, though.
You're still being a hater.
You all agree my dog Wolf is an annoying fucker. He's cute, but he's an
Yeah.
annoying fucker.
Love Wolf. I'm so drunk. Like, embarrassingly drunk.
Right, you ready?
I was too much of a hater during Dear Evan Hansen.
We both had to do like 9 drinks.
And I was doing big drinks because it was like
Yeah,
the
same.
second one we did.
Ready? Do we to reset it? Drink some
Okay.
water.
Oklahoma, that's what it
Okay,
is.
ready? Go.
I think Oklahoma's fun. I think it being like the original musical is fun. And I think the production I saw, the revival one I saw with Esme, I think it's fun. I think it shows, again, like what a revival can be. That you don't have to stick to the source material, that you can have fun with it, that you can take a more modern approach, and that it can be interesting to watch, even when it's like a musical from the 40s.
Good job. Right, it's Bonnie and Clyde time. Bonnie and Clyde, it is one of my favorite flop musicals ever. I like, as I was saying to Nell when we were talking about Your Lie in April, Face to Face. Frank Wildhorn cannot write period appropriate music, but it fucking slaps. I get why they made revisions to the book. I don't really understand why it was as much of a flop as it was on Broadway. I think it's because the critics are ultimate haters to Frank Wildhorn. Now sit up. Seeing It Live with Jeremy Jordan and Francis Maynard McCann changed my life. No, you'll go. We still have Tuck Everlasting to do.
I know, and I'm gonna like go crazy over it while drunk.
Ready? 3, 2,
Yeah.
1, go. I'll drink
I
twice.
love Bonnie and Clyde the musical. I think it's one of those ones that I never thought I'd get to see live, that I was dealing with, and I've never watched it be like, but I was dealing with like a 240p bootleg, couldn't see shit, was just guessing most of the time. And seeing it live with Jeremy Jordan and Francis Maynard McCann was incredible, and was like, at the time, peak of my life. It was the first thing I saw back after the pandemic. I think it's just a fun musical. I think it's good. I don't think it deserved as long of a run as it got on the West End, but I love it. I'll drink for going over.
Right, come on now. No. Okay, guys, so that it was between get a hair count up. It was between Heathers and Tuck Everlasting, so we were like on the edge of our seats, like trying to work out what it was gonna be. Heathers is a weird one for me. I think it's an okay score. At the time when I was like 13 years old, I thought it was the greatest score ever written. Now, obviously, I don't believe it's the same. I hate what it's morphed into in the UK. Like, I don't think anything about it is good. I don't agree with a lot of what happens. I hate the fact they kept it on other palates for as long as they did. However, I will never forget buying that ever first bitch ticket. So always, unfortunately, hold a very special place in my heart. However, it's just bad in the UK. How much do I have to drink? Okay. I thought it'd be more. You ready?
Yeah.
Go.
I think ultimately all of my issues with Heathers the musical comes from the production of it, not the musical itself. It's staying in the other palace. It's refusal to have more than like one swing for the entire cast at a time. And all of that, I think, makes me really dislike it, because it was taking up space that could have been used for new musicals. It felt unhealthy for the cast. But as Esme said, in of itself, it was one of the first musicals I got to see by myself. And for that, it has a soft spot in my heart.
I'm gonna say 4 as well.
You want me to die?
I think actually I'll let you get away with 3.
Okay.
Because we still have some of your favourite musicals to talk about on here, and I want to spare you.
Which one am I gonna shit on?
You're not gonna shit on, but you're gonna want to be. Now it is time. It is now Tuck time. It's Tuck time.
I love Tuck Everlasting.
Whoa! Shut up, yeah.
I love Tuck Everlasting so much.
Tuck Everlasting is a great fucking musical. Everyone who's listened to the episode this week, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's really getting Tuck Everlasting out there, because Tuck Everlasting is like not like it's not well known, and I think more people should know it because at the end of the day, it is like it is. I'm not going to say unfortunately because it is a very well written musical. My Most Beautiful Day is a great exploration of such a. If you can make me cry at a dance piece, then more power to you, I guess.
One
That
drink
made
for
no
going over.
that made
One
no
drink for going
sense.
over.
That made no sense, but I
It
love
made
Tuck
sense to
Everlasting.
me. Just the bit where you're like, everyone who has listened to the episode this week, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, because it's the thing, like I put it out and I was like, no one's gonna listen to this apart from like my dad, because no one knows Tuck Everlasting. Okay, go.
I love Tuck Everlasting with all of my heart. I'm saying this now so Esme can't cut it because it's in the 30 seconds. Tuck Everlasting saved my life. I was gonna kill myself. Tuck Everlasting stopped me.
I'm not looking at her that. It's just I don't think I can
Esme
say that.
thinks my suicidal tendencies as a teen were funny.
I don't think that's
I
funny.
love
Believe it or not,
Everlasting.
I don't
Saved
think.
my life. I genuinely love it. It is so hard for me to put into words how special it is to me. I know I'm going over the time limit.
Yeah,
I
go
love
ahead.
it so much. That is all I can say on it without genuinely, like, while
Right.
drunk, without genuinely bursting into tears. Fucking love Fuck Everlasting.
Next year,
And
guys,
I'll
will be
drink to that.
Avenue Q.
God.
I'll go first. Avenue Q, I was exposed to at the age of like 13. We were not going to get into that. Shout out to my old singing teacher. I love you very dearly, actually. I think it's a product of its time in so many ways, in the way that it was quite biting and funny and a satire, sorry, on something quite novel and new and relevant for people. But I think the further and further we get away from Avenue Q, the worse and worse it looks. And I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what the legacy of it's going to be. Nell's pissing herself because I said satire. Again, in real life, I have a proper thick West London accent. Guys, I'm so drunk.
That's funny.
Huh?
It's not that.
Want me to go satire? Because I've said satire.
I think it's satire of it.
Satire. Basically,
It's just, unfortunately, it's how we talk.
here's the thing. If you guys want to do a good West London accent, just like do a Cockney accent, but completely relax it, but not in a posh way.
If you want to do a West London accent, basically it's like if you're posh but you weren't actually posh, and if you're kind of like Cockney and like East London but actually not at all, and if you're kind of like from London but not at all from London, and if you're kind of just talking really fast and you weren't like actually using any syllables at all, and you were not using any
Basically,
consonants at all, and you're just talking really fast, and it's like there's no sentence breaks, like you're just talking and talking and talking and talking,
no,
and that's West London.
that's the thing is it so easily could be such a posh accent, but because we're lazy.
No, like rah, literally, this is how we could be
No,
talking.
this is how we could be talking.
No,
I
but
could
like
get my friend
literally.
Binky on the phone. However, like I just don't chat like that.
What the fuck are we doing?
Avenue Q.
Avenue Q.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
I think Avenue Q is a really fun musical. I think it is the perfect, like, I think what they set out to do of being like an introduction to politics for young adults who had never really had any introduction before in a way that was fun, but also like raunchy, for lack of a better word, and like interesting to watch for people who weren't kids but weren't like middle-aged men who can afford musicals. It's fun, it's fresh. The political campaigning we saw for the Tony Awards. Wish someone would do it again. Stuff. Stuff.
You guys had such a good opportunity, but you just didn't take it.
I am furious that you didn't take the opportunity.
Right.
I'll drink because I definitely went over.
Fuck. Nah, we're good. We're good. It's a Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol is like it's an okay musical. I get where they were coming from in the adaptation of it. However, I think in some places they did lack, like, why did Scrooge's fiance need to be completely renamed for some random ass reason? It just felt like that was necessary. However, and they made his redemption too quick because in the book it's really well paced out. Unfortunately, I do think that book is half decent. Nails clicking.
We've got to bring back snapping. It sucks that snapping is reserved for like slam poetry, and that's kind of it. We've got to bring back snapping for agreeing with shit.
Right, you ready to go?
Yeah, I love a Christmas, like the story of A Christmas Carol. I love it. I wrote many mock GCSE exams about it. Never took my GCSE. I think the musical is a fun adaptation of it. I just think it is very hard to live up to one, the book, two, the Muppets A Christmas Carol, which I saw last year for the first time and loved. But it's good. It's fun. I think the songs are fun. I think it lacks in some places, but it's hard not to with a book to musical adaptation.
I'm not. So basically, with that episode, I was like, let's do the Muppets. And Nell was like, no, let's do the
I've
actual
never seen the
musical.
Muppets one.
And then she texted me like days after that episode came out, I was like, we're doing the Muppets next year. So this year, guys, I get to chat about my favorite thing
This year
ever.
we're talking about the Muppets.
Miss Piggy. I love Miss Piggy.
Basically, I got my dad's Disney Plus login and I watched it in bed. It was freezing cold. I'm in a student house. The heating wasn't on.
Never.
I had my Udi on. I was
Many
I was
many
watching
episodes
the Muppets Christmas
have
Carol.
been recorded from my bed under a heated blanket.
Yeah. One, I'm always at my desk. I'm locked into this podcast, guys. I have respect for the institution. The
I
mic,
don't.
I don't have respect for the mic. It's shit. But yeah, and then I watched it like from bed when I was freezing cold. And then I went home for Christmas and I made my entire family watch it because I was like, we've never seen this. Like, I saw it a week ago. We've never seen it. My dad had just flown in because he lives abroad. Law drop, my dad lives abroad.
You
I
said,
don't see
because
him.
you were talking about
My dad.
what Phantom merch you were gonna get.
I do. I have a t-shirt now. I wouldn't say where my dad. I think I have said where my
You
dad
have.
lives. My dad lives in Dubai. I have a t-shirt from the tour in Dubai
Yeah.
and a souvenir program from the tour in Dubai.
I have a souvenir program from the production in Vienna in 1990s.
I
Never
know,
seen
and
it
I'm
it's in
furious
German.
about it.
Anyway, Beauty and the
So
Beast
yeah,
time.
and then my entire family was home, and I made them watch a Muppets Christmas Carol, and they were like, "This is so good." I was like, "No shit."
Oh shit, guys, it slaps.
Esme recommended it to me.
I fucking love the Muppets. I don't talk
And then
about it
we
enough, but I
watched
love the Muppets.
Noelle. We watched Noelle, which is the Anna Kendrick Christmas movie, where she's like Father Christmas's daughter, and it was shockingly good.
Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is such a fascinating case study in musical theatre history and also just like New York City history because it like completely revolutionized the family musical and also in its process Times Square as a place and an institution. Times Square still fucking sucks, man. Like I've been there a couple times. It fucking sucks. However, like it cleaned up and made it family friendly as much as it can, and it started this Disney craze that we currently have. Thank you, Disney, for taking over both artistic corporations. But I think they can have good merits, and that's what they did with Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your turn.
I think Beauty and the Beast is very much like the Disney musical. Like the only one I would say goes over it is The Lion King, but we've not done The Lion King on this podcast, so ignore that. Beauty and the Beast is the Disney musical. I think it's fun. I think it's cute. I think it's family friendly. I think it's a spectacle. I think it just hits all the marks the Disney musical needs to. It's a pretty faithful adaptation from the movie. Kids love it. I love it. Once in year 10, me, Esme, and some other friends wrote out an entire adaptation of A Christmas Carol as a musical.
Yeah.
That was pretty heavily based on Beauty and the Beast.
Shout out to our
If
friend
that makes
Karis
any sense.
once
Shout
again.
out to Paris. And also Twisted the Musical by Starkid, which
That's-
also really influenced it.
Anyway, did we have one that we need to talk about? Oh yeah, falsettos.
Falsettos.
Okay. I think Falsettos is a very well crafted musical. I really appreciate the way it handles something like AIDS by keeping it centered around the family and more the community aspect than rather doing a large, broader, this is the meaning of life kind of thing. I think the way it was developed is very interesting. I'm increasingly ever fascinated by the fan base it has seemingly acquired over the years. I've never seen a Falsettos fan with a full being able to be in employment. That's all I'm gonna say. I think it's good though.
Yeah.
I
I think you
used
need to take a drink for saying I've never seen a falsettos fan in film. That is being a hater.
I've said that before though, and I just had to cut it.
And it was being a hater back then, but right now you have to drink for it.
Also, that's another episode where if I went on a tangent about mortality, leave me alone.
With the Willows.
Okay, falsettos.
I think falsettos is an incredible musical. But and this isn't a negative, but I think ultimately it is a period piece, and that's why it is hard for fans to engage with it nowadays, especially younger fans, which is what it seems the fan base mainly is, because it is so entwined with the AIDS epidemic and being written as things happened, that it is hard for kids to see it in any other way than they're a gay men and I will ship them together.
Ciao, Trisha Paytas.
Shout out Trish Paytas. Other than that, it is a truly incredible musical. I feel like I'm talking really slow when the timer comes on. It's a truly incredible musical. I think it is really nuanced. I think it's really incredible and is really impactful for what it's trying to say. It is ultimately just hard to engage with as anything other than a time capsule of during the AIDS crisis.
I think that's really meaningful. But also, like, we talk about Trisha Paytas more than I ever thought we would on this podcast.
Thanks for liking my tweet. I'm getting drunk and tweeting on the podcast account now.
Big things happening on the
I'm
podcast.
gonna tweet that Love Never Dies takeover image in a second.
Okay, do it.
No caption.
You need to start tweeting some of the stuff we say.
Right
Annie.
now, Esme, I love Annie.
Okay, preface, I recorded the Annie episode with a raging fever and then passed out for about 2 hours afterwards, so I cannot be held accountable for anything that I said during that episode.
I don't remember the Annie episode, but I also think I'm drunk right now.
You remember the Annie episode. You do. Annie's rough, and I think we need to go stray away from the stylized tomorrow aspect of it and go back to the roughness of it, you know? It was the episode we talked about the Olivier nominations.
That does not help me.
The one we got a message after.
The Annie episode? Theodore Roosevelt?
That's why I opened it with I had a fever.
Oh, yeah. Anyone important listening to this, Esme had a fever, and I don't remember the episode. So,
I had a fever, was on my period, so I cannot be held accountable for anything that came out of my goddamn mouth.
We meant none of it. Don't sue us again.
Even if I might have tweeted it when I was also under that same state. Anyway, continue. Your turn.
I think Annie's really good. I think it is so funny that Theodore Roosevelt's in it for some weird reason. But I think ultimately it is a very hopeful musical. I think it's fun for kids to do. I remember doing it as a kid. I think it's fun. I think it's cute. I don't think it's ever going to be a kind of deep musical. Like, I don't think there's a ton to say on it other than it's fun to do, it's fun to watch. It's not trying to have a deep message, so it doesn't.
I am actually going to retweet that Love Never Dies takeover image. I've never seen it before.
You've not seen that? It's my favourite image.
Retweeted it. I actually like it.
All the notifications in a row.
It's time!
I love this fucking musical so much.
It's Anastasia. Anastasia slaps. Is it historically accurate? Not particularly. Is it like a good fucking musical? Yes. Is it hard to find out what year it is based on if you know anything about the Bolsheviks? No. However, in my dreams, Journey to the Past, Still / Geneva Flows is a banger of tune. I think we need to appreciate Anastasia the musical more as a society, as a whole. I drink twice for that, don't I?
In my mind, you don't need to drink it all.
Historically
everything you said was true. Amen.
You go.
I love Anastasia the musical so much. I need it on the West End immediately. I need it back on Broadway immediately. I need to be in it immediately. I need Rachel Zegler to also be in it immediately. I know I said it as a joke like weeks ago. I need her in it. I need her as Anya. I think it is a really cute musical. I think it does have an important message, but it isn't presented in a way that's difficult to understand. But is the kind of thing that's hidden under a few layers, so you can kind of like get into it a bit. The songs are great. I love the songs. I will sing them. As I said like half an hour ago, I'm gonna listen to it tonight, and I'll drink for going over 30 seconds. We've got a good choice of musicals left.
Yeah, I'm like, what a rogue selection. Fuck off, man. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if it's because we've been drinking and how long we've been going, but the only thing I can remember about this musical is my cousin telling to me on family holiday and going, so even Slater, and then me having to defend this musical because it is unfortunately a great fucking musical. However, the mainstream don't get it. They don't understand the artistic interpretation and the artistic effort that went into creating this musical. I still think it's wild that they managed to convince as many mainstream pop stars to go in it as possible, although it all makes sense. Thank you, Tom Kitt. However, get a job other than arranging jukeboxes.
I love that you didn't say what musical it was at all.
That was SpongeBob. You could tell though by the second I said Ethan
It
Slater.
was just the way you kept saying this musical, and then Ethan Slater, and then this musical.
I think I need to tell Tom. I need to drink for telling Tom Kitsch to get him a job other than a reading jukebox.
I love SpongeBob the musical. I think, unfortunately, is such a stupid and like cringe musical that it gets so much hate. When despite all of that, it is just so good. Ethan Slater does so much hard work that it really pays off. To the point of him getting to date Ariana Grande. All of the songs go hard, the costumes go hard, the set goes hard, the plot goes hard. Despite being a well-known kids' TV show, it isn't trying to recreate a plot, it creates its own one. I fucking love SpongeBob the musical. I also love that for some reason my mic just decided to work perfectly during that episode and has never done so again. No reason. It decided to work perfectly.
Okay, so you have to drink like twice. So everybody's talking about Jamie. Everybody's talking about Jamie is a good fucking time. It is a good time to like see to listen to. It's a very good pop score. Unlike something like The Prom, one of his contemporaries, it, like goes fully in on this topic. However, I do find the fact that the bully ends up being a gay guy quite predictable and like eye-rolly. What else do I have to say about it? It's another episode where Don't Hold Too Much Against Me. Don't remember. Yeah.
That's like one drink.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Go.
I think everybody's talking about Jamie is such an important musical. I think for me specifically, in part, that is because it is so based in like British culture and is very like close to home in a lot of ways for that. But I also think is it has a message, it sticks to it. It isn't trying to imp out on anything like other musicals, The Prom tries to. I think all of its points that it lacks in isn't enough to make me hate it. And they're all like it's all kind of the thing where they're just like it was the 2010s, like late 2010s.
Yeah. You have to drink. Okay. God, we just. Oh my God, I can't believe some of these are still in.
I know. This was one I thought was going to get out a lot earlier.
Yeah, it's Les Mis. I used to be famously a bit of a Les Mis hater, and now I think it is the second coming of Christ. I think it's an incredible. It's my favorite mega musical. I don't think it really fully gets that mega aspect of it. However, it is an incredible musical, and it is able to adapt this very complex and very intricate story very effectively to a stage. Some of the songs are amazing. Some of the pieces of music are amazing. Those two French motherfuckers, they can write a banger of a tune.
Yeah.
Do I have to drink? I fear I have to.
No,
Okay.
you never said anything bad.
I just said it wasn't as
You
mega as...
famously. That's not like a hater though.
No, it's just a fact. It's not as mega as some of the mega musicals.
I guess it used to be, but you've not seen it since it has its little downgrade.
Yeah, I wish I could go back and see the original production.
I've seen the original
My
production.
friend Martha saw it with Eva Noblezada as Eponine. And apparently she has a program from it, and I need to get my fucking dirty little grubby hands on that motherfucking program. To the point where she still thinks Eva Noblezada is British every so often.
I saw Carrie Hope Fletcher as Eponine.
Who did I see? I saw first time I saw it, Natasha. She's gonna be playing Eliza in Hamilton, and I think I need to go see Hamilton because her band is gonna fucking rip.
Good.
Your turn.
I think Les Mis was really good. I think there's not a ton to say on it or critique about it because everything has already been said about it. I love the movie, quite frankly. This is what I will say. I love the movie. I think Russell Crowe really added something to the role. I think he was good in it. I've actually not seen it since it got the downgrade and like they removed the revolve. But when I did see it, it was great. I would like to go see it again.
Lawrence Connor, When I Find You.
I'll take a drink for liking the movie.
I'll take a drink for being mean to Lawrence Connor, although I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a weird selection of shows we have now.
Oh my God.
It's Beetlejuice.
I love Beetlejuice.
I love Beetlejuice so much. Okay, Beetlejuice, yeah. It is an outstanding musical. The production elements of it are like insane. I have seen it live. I'm not talking about the bootleg for once. It is a very entertaining and well thought out musical. I listened to Home for the first time in ages the other day, and I just thought, man, this song rips. This song is so good. And when they have Lydia running through the Neverworld, the way that they're able to show the Neverworld and the deep, dark blackness of it is truly outstanding. We should all think about it more. Nell has got covering her
I have
eyes.
not thought about Home in so long, purely because I knew it was going to send me into a breakdown.
No, no, nor have I. And then I listened to it the other day and I was like, this song fucking slaps. And I don't even
I'm
think
going to listen to Home in a minute.
I don't even think Sophia Anne-Cruz is that good of a singer anymore.
I think she is. My double standards of her and Ruth Carney. Sophia and Caruso. Yeah.
Sophia, we love you. You've given us so much to think about
Sophia,
and
I love
ponder
you
on.
so much.
You've given us so much over the years. Go.
I think Beetlejuice is like musical ever for me. It takes a lot more of an emotional and the only one I think is like connecting to the audience route than the movie does, which is more focused on comedy. Home is an incredible song. I think as well, it did a whole ton for online and fan culture around musicals, and I genuinely think it's one of the places we see the biggest switch from pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. It is an incredible musical, very close and dear to my heart. I love it.
Every day we should wake up and thank Presley Ryan.
Thank you, Presley Ryan, for what you've done.
I know me and Nell do. Do you?
Every morning.
Do
Every
you at
morning.
home? To listen at home, do you thank
Me and
Presley
my
Ryan?
Presley Ryan bootleg.
Is it still on your laptop?
Yep. Yes, it is.
This is Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. I'm just getting straight into this. I love this musical. I think it's one of the most inventive and ingenious scores of our lifetimes. I cannot describe how excited I am to go see this in December. It's genuinely another show that I never thought I'd get to go see, and now we're gonna go see it from the stalls. And I am so excited just to hear something like no one else live, and then followed up by them being at the opera, and then the entire like score changing into this weird techno beat. Hearing Balaga live. Oh my God, and the whole legacy of it's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, I love Great Comet. I think it is incredible. Again, it's one of those shows I never thought I'd go and see. And there is still some part of me that cannot believe I'm going to see it. I think the score is incredible. I'm so excited to see how they change the staging when we go see it, but also I'm in love with the original staging. I think it is so inventive to take like 100 pages of a really well-known book and create this like banger musical out of it. The prologue has changed the way I view musical theatre. Like, truly, it is one of the best songs ever.
Yeah. I'm not gonna meet you drink for that because that was just straight facts. Got like
some crazy ones left.
Five left. Oh, for fuck's sakes. I'm gonna get cancelled. I'm talking about Rent.
We love Rent here.
Rent is objectively a good musical. I won't say it was great. I think the thing with Rent is it's so overshadowed by the death of Jonathan Larson, which is very tragic. It moved me to tears when I was researching it. However, my friend once said about it, about Jonathan Larson as a whole, tick tick gentrified bullshit. I can't stop thinking about it. I think there are valid criticisms, but I think parts of it genuinely do really slap. However, it's such a weird musical to me still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think take a drink for the Jonathan Larson thing, because ultimately it is being a hater.
I'm true though. It's my truth. I've said that to you months ago and you went, you cannot say that.
You cannot say that.
Anyway, you'll go. I think Tick Tick Boom's a good musical though, but
yeah.
You'll go.
I think Rent is a really good musical, and I think unfortunately, but as Esme said, it's so tied into Jonathan Larson as a person and through his death that it is really hard to criticize. But then in a way, because it's also tied into it feels like there is nothing to criticize. It feels like, again, like I said with Falsetto, is a perfect time capsule of the era. And I think it is a very important piece of musical theatre. And like Hamilton, it did kind of revolutionize it. And for that reason, I don't have any like hatred towards it or anything. I think it's really good. But again, it's the thing of I have never known a world without Rent. So I find it hard to say anything more about it. And I'll drink because I am like about a minute over.
The second I started viewing Rent as of unfinished work, the second I was like, okay, I can accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got 4 more left. Whatever's going to be next, it's going to be possibly gnarly. My God, it's Doozies! Have you seen what it is?
I have. Newsies.
seeing Newsies at Wembley, like honestly, was one of those moments where I cried because I love theatre. It is like I sound insane when I say that, but seeing the Newsy fight with the audience, the female Newsies, just the power of like Once and For All, where the set moved, is something that's so impactful and moving. I do find it very interesting that Disney decided to put out an anti-union musical, but
Pro-union.
yeah, pro-union, sorry, they're famously anti-union, but it's an incredibly well-written musical. Alan Menken, I love you.
Amen.
Yeah, your turn.
I think to start with, what I'm realizing with a lot of these musicals is that I think the ones with the simplest message are the most impactful when they're done right. And I think Newsies is kind of the perfect example of that. It's very
Yeah.
easy to say we're stronger together than we are apart, let's make a union. But to do it in such a way that is appealing to kids, that is appealing to young adults, that is appealing to teenagers, that is touching, that is fun to watch, that will make me cry when five female newsies step out and say, we're here to save the day in such a simple song with some great rhymes. I think it's a great musical. I love it. It has a very dear place in my heart. Again, I'm drinking because I'm going over the time limit, but it's so good. It's such a classic.
Yes, that's
Bring it
classic.
back to Wembley right now. I love Starlight Express.
We've not
Get it
seen it, so we
out.
need to see Starlight
Get it out
Express
for
before they get
Newsies.
rid of it. 21 Chump Street.
A great musical as well.
Fortunately, again, this is when Lin really showed that he is one of the greatest musical theatre composers of our time, because to be able to tell such a complex story like 21 Jump Street is telling, and to get it all down in 15 minutes is super impressive. Not many people have the prowess to do that. I think it's incredibly effective about what it wants to say. And it gives a lot of people a lot of humanity without like it's just such a complex story because at the end of the day Naomi was just doing her job, but Justin was a good guy, and at the end of the day you listen to the musical and you really believe that.
Yeah.
You'll go.
Yeah. I think 21 Jump Street was a lot of people's first introduction to complex and realistic characters, which is why a lot of the time you'll see a lot of like pretty basic interpretations of being like, Naomi was bad for what she did to Justin. I think I agree about how incredible it is to take such a complex and long-winded situation and put it in 15 minutes in a way that completely makes sense. It's incredible. I think 21 Jump Street is again such a like epitome of Lin-Manuel Miranda's talent. I
Okay.
keep forgetting we've done like actual episodes on all of these. So I'm like, wait, I need to talk more about these.
We've talked for like
Talk for an
hours.
hour and a half.
Okay, we're down to the last two for these. It's between Hairspray and Wicked.
Wicked.
It's gonna be Wicked as our second to last one.
That's almost iconic. If Tuck Everlasting had been the last one, that would have been iconic because that was
It
what
would
we
have.
did last week.
So Wicked. Wicked is like the American epitome of a mega musical. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying it's good. There are some points that are very effective. I really do enjoy the second act of Wicked. I think that's where it gets into the more issues of morality and stuff. However, it is just a musical that I have kind of grown up with, and so I have a lot of nostalgic feelings towards it. There's one scene in it that I love so much because I've done the scene and I think it's such an interesting thing. I love the fact that it's a mainstream musical about the complexities of female friendship for good. I love so much. The Wicked movie is not real.
Amen.
Do I have
I
to
say
drink this?
amen a lot for someone who's not religious.
I say you're more Biblically religious than me, though.
Yeah. I think I could very easily become religious.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
have
think it would take much.
I don't think I'm like religious in a lot of ways, though. That makes sense.
I think I could very easily become pagan. So it's very readily agreeing with me there.
It isn't
I
it?
think I could very easily become pagan.
I have zero religious framework for life.
Me neither. I just think I could be. I think I'd
Yeah.
enjoy believing that there's a god or a
I
couple
think
gods.
here's the thing. Like, I look at religious people and I'm like, how amazing. You guys have a community. You guys
Yeah.
have a belief. You have this faith that everything's going to be all right. I want to be you.
I love religious people. Like,
Yeah.
that sounds so patronizing. I've got to talk about Wicked for 30 seconds.
Okay. Go.
I love Wicked. I think it is just such a classic musical. And I think part of that is that it just comes from such a strong source material that it's kind of hard to fuck up. Elphaba and Glinda are lesbians, but they're also female best friends, and that's iconic. I think it is just it's hard to critique in any way, and it's hard to say anything good about it just because it is so classic. that it's kind of hard to make any comment that hasn't already been made or that isn't just stating the obvious.
I never knew that you viewed Elphaba and Glinda as
They're fucking
lesbians.
gay. They're
Okay.
lesbians. They're like not, but they are.
I think a lot of it is colored by the fact that I did it with someone who I have quite a similar relationship to as
In my
them.
mind, it's just the thing of when you have a very close female friend and you're
Yeah.
like, I might be attracted to this girl, but also that's weird, so I'm not. So we're just gonna have this very weird relationship, and it's gonna be so dramatic, and then we're gonna stop talking for 10 years. And you just kind of gotta live with that. And then like 5 years down the line, you're like, "Fuck, I had a crush on her. And you just gotta deal with that. In my mind, that is just exactly what happened to them. Like they did not know they were gay. They were just friends in every like sense of the meaning. But it was so dramatic that there's no way there was nothing more going on.
See, I just view that as being like, because they're meant to be like 16 when they start Wiz.
Esme,
Shiz.
you knew me when I was 16. And
Yeah.
so therefore you knew 16-year-old lesbians.
Yeah, I knew 16-year-old lesbians. See, we all have our own interpretations of Wicked.
Well, it's just a thing of I fully accept they're not like actually in love.
Canon.
They're not like
Yeah.
canon. They're not like properly girlfriends or anything like that. I fully accept that. There's just a little homoerotic tension going on there. But
I
it's just
understand.
very classic chips.
I understand how people get to that conclusion.
Yeah,
I love a good female friendship narrative. Elena Ferrante, Call Me Up. Those
yeah.
women hated each other, but also would die for each other. And Ferrante, I'm so glad you can't go on Twitter. I, I know what the last one is, but I'm going to spin it just for shits and gigs.
What could it
What could
possibly
it possibly
be?
be? Oh, would you look at that? It's Hairspray. So Hairspray, it holds a very deep and special place in my heart because it was one of the first musical theatre scores along with Matilda that I was properly obsessed with. However, I do think that we need to leave it in the past. It's one of those musicals, along with Miss Saigon, that we just need to kind of leave. And that doesn't mean we can't sit around and go, what a fucking banger and a good time you can't stop the beat is. It just means we shouldn't be remounting it on Broadway. And it just means we can watch the 2007 movie, which is a banger movie instead. Yeah, okay. Your turn. Go.
I think less so the phrase of it's a product of its time,
Mm.
but more so it has happened. It's incredible. It's really fun to watch. It's fun to listen to. It's a great musical. It doesn't need to be modernized. It doesn't need to be put on in a modern way. I don't need to see it in 2024 as a 2024 production. I can watch like the 2007 film or whatever it is and enjoy it as a film from 2007. I don't know if that I'm drunk, so I don't know if that comes across in the way I want it to.
No, I get exactly what you mean.
But like
So we
it's
have,
not a product of its time. It is just we have moved on.
yeah,
There are better things to do than try and
yeah.
revamp it.
Exactly. We have better energies to use. So we've reached the end of our fun game. I'm so excited to edit this.
Yeah. I'm so
What,
excited to never think about this again.
what would you say have been your favorite episodes so far? Because I have two
Ooh.
that immediately come to mind.
Ooh.
Do you want me to start?
Okay, how are you putting this? Like favorite episodes as in like
No,
the musical and how it turned out, or favorite ones to record?
to record.
Because number one, I would definitely say Hades Town
Yeah, same. Hades Town is my
because
favorite episode.
incredibly fun to do.
It was when I tell you my blood, sweat, and tears went into that goddamned episode, and I'm incredibly proud of it. I think it's the best episode we've also ever put out. I think we are both like on top form, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like I think I don't know, I'm just incredibly every week I'm really proud of that episode. I think there's a reason why I've linked it on our Spotify as the episode to start off with, because it
yeah,
is the episode I'm proudest of and I think shows us both off in the best
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Um
But then also like for me, I think like I want to say SpongeBob is one of the ones I had the most fun recording. But I think because we were both like we spent about half an hour talking about the Concorde.
no, that was Newsies.
We talked about it in SpongeBob as well. It got cut completely.
Yeah,
But
it
we
did.
did genuinely talk about the Concord. We talked about Ethan Slater because that was the thing. We were talking about finding out about Ethan Slater and Ariana Grande
Yes.
because we were at Newsies. And so that just led into us saying, and the Concord. And it was just such a ridiculous episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think as well, the only other one I would say in the same vein as like Hadestown was Great Comet,
I was about to say Great Comet is my second favorite episode that we've ever put out.
where I feel like we both did a good amount of research.
I
We
think
both
something.
had enough actual knowledge of it that it
Mm,
kind of came together perfectly.
I think Great Comet is one that I'm very proud of because in a way it kind of does go against the popular narrative of it. Because in that episode, I went into researching it thinking it got shut down because of a racism scandal because it was 2017 and I hadn't really revisited it meaningfully since. And then I got
Yeah,
into the details and I was able with an adult lens to almost reevaluate the information and go, oh wait, no, Great Comet in some ways was always a sinking ship.
yeah,
And it never had to be.
yeah. I think the only one other one for me, off the top of
Mm.
my head, is maybe the prom. Just because
I
I feel like
loved the
that's the one I
prom.
got. It was, I wouldn't say
Chaos.
fun to record. Yeah, chaos. I think it was the one I've been the most like openly emotional about.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking stuff like Groundhog Day. That is a
That was also fun.
musical I love that I like enjoyed recording, but that was mostly just because I like the musical. I don't think the episode does anything stand out. I think it's
Mm.
fun because
Mm.
you can tell we both love the musical.
And we've gotten a good response for that. Like people have said to us, like, you guys, yeah, like this is I really enjoyed listening to this, da, 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 and that means a
Yeah.
lot.
I think that's the thing. As we like as you go into the like everything past New Year's after we
Yeah.
took the break,
Needed
I
that
think we
break.
kind of we needed that break. I think we found ourselves one. It was just like, who cares if like zero people listen to this?
Yeah.
Because the first like half of the year, or
Mm.
until basically from August until December of
I would say like
2023.
I would say Comet was the first time we really I think I think we both walked away from that recording being like, we've done something here.
Yeah, or at least that where of being like, I don't feel I have any more to say, or that I didn't get like off or any point,
Yeah.
you know? Like we could never revisit this again, and I would feel comfortable with what I've said.
We will talk about the new production in London when we go to
Oh
see it in our
yeah.
end of year review, without a doubt. However, like I felt Comet was one that I really wanted to do. I felt a lot of there's some episodes that I feel a lot of responsibility to get right, and those are the episodes that I often feel the proudest of at the end.
I think you can also tell because we'll record for like 6 hours straight, and the episode will only be like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
But because we will genuinely go through like every single thought process we can think of until we find what we want to say.
yeah,
Yeah, I think 2023, like August to December, the like first half of the year that we
yeah,
did the podcast for, we kind of had no idea what we were doing. And we were both so anxious
yeah,
about saying anything.
yeah.
And then we came back and fuck, what did we come back with? Because we left
Matilda.
on year we came back with each other because we left on year in review, and that was us like actually talking about our opinions
Yeah.
fully. And like we saw this and I hated it, but I saw this and I loved it.
I think what I've learned is that people respond to when we're honest.
Yeah.
Like,
And it was the thing with Matilda of just like we had nothing bad to say about it, so it's a really positive episode. But then we actually figured out, I was like, who cares if zero people listen to this? Who cares if 100 people listen to this?
yeah.
I'd rather just say what I'm thinking.
I mean, even like with that, I mean, now can attest to this. Hadestown did almost send me to the insane asylum.
Yep,
Don't get me wrong.
yep,
I had 10
yep.
pages of notes. I reviewed them so many times because I wanted to get it so right. But also, I knew at the end of the day that I wanted to do it right because it became such an important musical to me so quickly that I was like, I need to
Yeah,
tell this story right. And I also, in a lot of ways, often when I'm doing my research, I find out what the real story I want to tell is. Because with Hadestown, it became very quickly quite apparently. Whereas I think with Hadestown and Great Comet is almost companion episodes to each other because in Great Comet we're
Yeah.
always telling the story of Rachel Chavkin, and so I went in to Hades Town being like, okay, I'm going to continue telling the story of Rachel Chavkin. I know all this stuff about her, and then I got
Yeah.
very quickly into my research and I was like, oh no, this is the life story of Anais Mitchell that I'm telling her.
And I think as well stuff like that we did very early on, like the first 4 episodes.
Oh my God, I cringe.
They were horrid. But I think the reason I want to revisit them
Mm.
is less because I'm like, oh my God, we were so cringe back then. We were like talking in silly voices because we didn't want to use our real accents. Look at us now. And like we were really holding back. And also just because I'm like, I didn't say what I wanted to. Like talking
Yeah.
about Hamilton, we didn't know what the podcast was going to be or anything.
Also,
So we're
like,
there and we're like, Hamilton is a pretty good musical and I like it a lot. And then like if you look at the episodes today, we're like Hamilton Revolution, like or every other week that we do, we're like Hamilton revolutionized musical theatre. Hamilton is like the best musical ever. I don't actually know if we ever said that in the Hamilton episode. In because I think instead we were just like Hamilton was a very good musical for the time and was very like different in what it did.
also, I think it's a skill. I think it's like we've learned how to talk, how to get like these thoughts from our heads to our mouths in a way that other people than me and you will understand.
I will genuinely say, I think, as stupid as it sounds, doing the podcast really helped me write my essays this
Yeah.
year. Just because I was more like, okay, well, I can just write everything out and then go back over it. Like, because when I'm doing the podcast, I just have to say everything and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So if I treat this like this is going to be the final thing I submit,
Yeah.
I will like try my hardest and I can read back over it and check it makes sense. But like
Yeah.
I'm aware I'm making good points because I do so in the podcast.
Yeah. Do you wanna, I don't know, are there any like episodes that you're looking forward to doing? Not that we've got planned or that you're just like, at some point we will do this and I'm looking forward to that day.
That
Like,
we've got planned. Let
not
me
that we've,
look. I think part of me is definitely excited to redo Phantom and all of those beginning ones.
yeah.
But also I'm happy to wait a year or more to redo them.
I reckon next
Because
summer will be the time.
yeah. I was thinking for a while as well, when we started talking about redoing them, I was like, and then we've got to take down the original ones.
I want them
Like
to
to
stay
keep them
up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're cute. This one is one we've got planned, but I'm
Okay.
excited to do Next to Normal because I've heard so much about it.
See, that's that. Let me tell you what the plan is for next normal, guys. If you made it this far in this episode, we are gonna go see it on in like 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, pretty much, and then we're gonna record the episode like that week. And I'm so excited to do it, but also I'm shitless because I'm scared shitless because it's another one that I feel like a deep responsibility to do right for myself almost. Like this is
Yeah.
one where I think about my younger self a lot. Like I think about 15-year-old me who would listen to that cast recording on a fucking loop and who just like cared so deeply about this story and just like yeah, I think about that a lot. Like I've
Mm.
technically started it, but like I just keep starting it and stopping it
Yeah.
because I'm just like, okay, yeah. Are there any other
The,
ones that you're like that we
the only other one I can think of that I don't think we have a date for at all
no.
because of what it is, but that is very near and dear to me, is whenever we eventually do the Starkid episode.
Yeah, because we've been talking about doing that since the podcast started, but we just haven't
Yeah.
like figured out how we want to do it as well.
Because I think we want to do a Hatchetfield
Hatchetfield.
episode, but
Yeah.
it's unclear. I want to say, first of all, so excited for Cinderella's Castle. Cannot wait to watch it. A part of me is so genuinely happy that they are stepping away from Hatchetfield. Because as
Yeah.
much as I love it and that, like, genuinely love it, like, I have bought the Nerdy Prudes Must Die cast recording, all of that stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
What got me into Starkid was not Hatchetfield. It
Yeah.
was their original musicals and their parody musicals. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see them do that. But I'm unsure if there is like a third Nightmare Time, and I would
Yeah.
rather do the Hatchetfield episode after we know whether that is happening or if it's not,
Mm.
because that would, in my mind, close out the Hatchetfield series.
Yeah.
Unless they say there's going to be another one, in which case push it off for another like 10 years. And then also doing all of that other stuff. then I think you can split it up even more. Because then you do all of their parody musicals, like
Mm.
Twisted, Annie, Fell to Oregon, Harry Potter, obviously, into like their original musicals, like Starship. Trying to think
Firebringer.
of this. Firebringer. I know they've done more because I've listened to them and watched them, but now I cannot
Yeah.
think of any. Like Me and My Dick.
And then you've got like Tin Can Bros to get to.
Yeah, like do you do a whole Tin Can Bros episode or do you mash them together? Because
Yeah.
stuff like Spies Are Forever, I think of it is obviously an original musical,
Yeah.
but it is also separate from Star Kid. But is it easier to put them together and do
Mm.
it as original online musicals? What else am I excited to do? I'm excited to do Miss Saigon, more so because I really want to read and watch the Untitled Fuck Miss Saigon play.
See, the Miss Saigon episode has been looming over this goddamn podcast since like the third episode. There's a point in it when Nell says, "Are we ever going to do Miss Saigon?" I'm like, "No, we have to." To the point where I am so incredibly fascinated by this musical, I already have like an entire page of links for it. I will get bored and just start researching Miss Saigon to shit. It got to the point where earlier
Yeah.
today Dan was like to me, even though Zada was at the Jimmy Awards, and I was like, yeah, I know. And do you want to know what's even crazy about that? Is that they, in the Miss Saigon press releases, because I have read them, they're fascinating. They don't call them the Jimmy Awards because no one knew what that was.
They called them like the American
The
High School
National
Musical.
Theatre
Yeah.
Musical Theatre Awards. And do you want to know what else is crazy? I don't think I've ever shared this with you. In the Mean Girls press tour, Renee
Yeah.
Rapp dropped a big piece of lore that made me go, that makes so much sense. She saw what Eva Noblezada did and went, I'm going to do that. So transferred to the same high school she went to
Icon.
and then did that.
Icon.
Like, guys, Miss Saigon is a musical that fascinates me in so many ways, but the issue of the Miss Saigon episode, other than it being such a fucking beast, is I don't know which lane to go down because there are so many different ones. Like, there's so many different angles that we can look at Miss Saigon through, and like at this point, I'm gonna have to narrow it down, and I don't want to.
I think we could, if it came down to it, we could just do it as multiple episodes. Like
I
do like a 3 week split of like, here is what Miss Saigon is about. So there is like the takes on like that Miss Saigon documentary that was over TikTok for a bit. That was the Cameron Mackintosh
No, that's the
documentary.
Cameron Mackintosh one. There's two different Miss Saigon documentaries. So there's one from the 80s when they were first mounting the production, and there's one from 2014 when they were remounting it for the revival. And I am so deep in Miss Saigon lore, and I'm reading a lot of
Yeah.
academic literature around Miss Saigon as well. That's the thing I think sometimes gets lost. I sometimes do read academic literature around these musicals, and I'm reading
Dude, I'm on JSTOR all the time, just
I
searching
know.
up musical theatre and seeing
JSTOR.
what comes up.
Another musical that I feel very passionately about and I really want to do and I really want to do right is The Light in the Piazza. I think
Yeah.
as a neurodivergent woman, Clara means a lot to me. Like something like the song The Light in the Piazza is one of my favorite songs of all time. Like it's one of my favorite musical theatre songs of all time. It's also one of my favorite musical theatre songs of all time. It's like up there with something like, I don't know, Flowers. It's so I will cry if I talk about it too much. Such a fun history.
Yeah.
Like it means like the story of Clara and that whole conversation her and Margaret have about her mum, have about the different ways they view the world, the different way their brains fundamentally work. It's so beautiful to me. And it's another show
Mm.
where I'm like, I don't know, I think I need to do it and I need to do it right. And obviously, I think we're both excited to get into the fun of like something like, I don't know, Cats or
Cats will be great. I think there's part of me that wants to branch out from specifically like theatre musical thing. I guess we're gonna start doing that with not next week.
next week. Next week.
I'll say what we're doing
We're doing
because it's
theatre
towards
camp.
the end of the episode. We're doing theatre camp.
Theatre camp.
A theatre camp. But I feel like it's fun to start going into like the movie stuff because then do we do
We used to do Phantom the
because
movie. We used
like
to do
Phantom the movie, Les Mis the movie,
Amos,
we've kind of already
Woods.
done. Words.
I really am excited to get to Chicago at some point. I really want to do Chicago at some point
Yeah.
because it's
There's
such a
part of me that
fascinating
wants to
musical.
start doing like Disney and why there is such a different attitude towards Disney movies, which are just musicals, musical theatre, as well as stuff like Barbie movies.
Yeah.
Like, most of them contain music, but only some of them contain singing. Other singing ones more popular, etc., etc. This is very quickly, if this podcast goes on for longer than another year, it's
Yeah.
very quickly just going to devolve into us talking about our interests.
Oh, yeah. If Now ever takes a week off, we will be talking about Elena Ferrante.
Oh yeah. If
I don't
Esme
know.
takes a week off, I'm not allowed to talk about what we're going to talk about. Esme, I'm going to start talking about the Dream SMP fan songs
You are, yeah.
because I think they're so interesting, and I think it's such a, like a phenomenon.
If last week I said Natalie Babbitt and instead I said Natalie Babbitts, it's because my favorite author of all time, one of my favorite authors is Eve Babbitt. And I literally have her book right next to me, and I had spent about 2 weeks just reading her stuff. And again, if Now ever leaves for more than 2 weeks, I will spend 1 week talking about 4 weeks talking about Elena Ferrante, and then I'll spend another couple weeks talking about Eve Babbitt's and Joan Didion's friendship.
Yeah, I think this podcast is fun just because it's like a couple hours every week where I get to just be like, and here's another stupid thing I know.
It's an outlet for this knowledge that we've acquired. And I said to Now at one point, because she was going to look something up on social about musicals, and she just went straight to the document. I was like, we're building our own encyclopedia of musical theatre, basically, for
Yeah,
the document.
yeah. I think that's why it's good you put all the links in like the descriptions of every episode. Because while a lot of it is stuff that we have just written down, like there's bits on the Newsies, what I want to say, which is like the thing about one of the guys getting left on the bus.
Yeah.
It's just there is no link to it. There is no like proof it happened, but it is just Nell says this happened, so it did. I'm like, I can prove it happened.
There are some musicals I don't think we'll ever do.
Yeah.
What's one that off the top of my head that I don't think we'll ever do? I'm not doing Spider-Man. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't for so many reasons, so many reasons. There's a whole ass book about it, and they're gonna make that book into a movie, and I can't do that. I'm sorry. There are entire podcasts dedicated to that musical, and I think it's a Tina Fey skit.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I don't think I'd ever do any of the biopic musicals like Tina, because it's just gonna go, here's Tina Turner's life story. Then they made a musical with her songs.
If we want to talk about Carole King, now I'm down for that conversation. However,
Yeah.
I don't like Beautiful the Carole King musical.
I guess like Dreamgirls we could do because
I
that is
really
kind
do
of its
like
own
Dreamgirls.
entity.
Yeah,
I guess what else? Like Mamma Mia, despite
we're gonna do Mamma Mia at some point.
yeah, I think it's a thing. I tend to stray away from jukebox musicals because I don't particularly like them. But there are some that we're gonna have to do. I think eventually we are gonna have to do Anne Juliet.
I also think like we have ideas for like weird one-off episodes. Like we talk about this summer regularly, just between the two of us. Our ideas for the eventual Taylor Swift musical.
Oh yeah, the Taylor Swift musical.
We have a director in mind. Cough, cough, Rachel Chavkin.
Chapkin, and there's Mitchell if you'd like to collab.
She did say she probably will be writing another musical. Oh no, someone's got to chronicle Andy's bullshit.
Yeah. The only other thing I'd be interested in looking into is I guess they're less musicals and more there's this thing in specifically East Asian countries, which is stage adaptations of like famous TV shows and like like the one I'm thinking of specifically is Ace Attorney because I love Ace Attorney. But there is a stage adaptation of Ace Attorney. There's a stage adaptation of like Mob Psycho, which is an anime and manga.
Yeah.
But they're less like the musical adaptations of Death Note and Your Lie in April.
Where they've almost been westernized to an extent.
Yeah, and they're less just retelling the story of these shows.
Yeah.
And more so of here is the universe of the show, here are the characters you know. Here is a semi-original story.
Yeah.
That like does like it's definitely aspects of what it's based on and all of that. But I think that kind of stuff is really interesting
Yeah.
because you don't get it over here. Like you would never see, I guess like Bridgerton or like Doctor Who, I will say is a great example. But you would never see a like one-off stage adaptation of Doctor Who where
Yeah.
it's a completely original plot line, like a completely original Doctor. It's all of these things, and it just happens because they haven't explored a stage medium yet.
Yeah.
I think like that's a cool thing that happens that we don't see on like the West End and Broadway specifically.
Oh, I was just looking at my playlist. I need to get Nell into cabaret.
Yeah.
I need your takes on it so bad.
I know I'm gonna like it's the thing like Cabaret Line the Piazza. I know I'm gonna like. I know Cabaret to be fair.
I think I would be very interested to have a discussion about it with you. But even like I don't know, I was just looking at my playlist. Even something like what was it that I got up and I was like, oh my God, I'm not even Bear. I used to talk about Bear sometimes. If Nell ever
Oh
leaves for the
yeah.
week, I'm getting on our mate Harris and we are chatting so much about Bear.
I'm going to list of musicals for our playlist.
I don't know. I think there is a lot for us to still talk about. But also the thing I've been thinking about a lot, like when doing this podcast, is I saw a TikTok that was like fashion's not just about fashion, and that kind of goes for every single form of media. And I think I don't know. I like to think I'm quite well informed of what's going on in pop culture, like
Yeah,
scary. And I think that does kind of inform the way I view musical theatre because everything is, to an extent, a product of its time and a product of its surroundings. And I think that's obviously something that's quite interesting to me about media as in general, you know?
yeah. Like I think that's the thing of as much as we joke around about um that fucking tweet of like
Yeah.
British people don't like take musical theatre seriously. I think it is more so about the kind of things that influence musical theatre, media creation.
Yeah.
Because you have a shocking amount of shows that you can tell are pretty heavily influenced by like 9/11 for in
That's the
America.
thing. That's the thing.
Whereas like over here you don't get as much influence by like the 7/7 attacks
No, because
or
it just
anything like
weren't
that.
as big of a
You
deal in
get
our
stuff
media.
like Billy Elliot about like iconic periods of British history and stuff like and like six.
I think we're more obsessed with the Thatcher period than we are with 7/7 as a culture.
Yeah, I was thinking 7/7 because it's the kind of only thing comparable to 9/11 in any way.
Yeah, I get exactly why you're drawing that comparison. But I
It's
think,
such a fun list to compile.
what of musicals?
Yeah, I'm just thinking like what we actually done and what would we actually want to include on the playlist.
We've got to do Parade at some point. Nell doesn't want to because it's too
Oh,
depressing,
yeah,
but I will make her God willing to talk about Parade.
yeah,
Anyway, we're gonna go because it is late and I need to go eat some baguette with right
yeah.
back.
Ooh, sounds delicious.
I'm really excited about it. I've been thinking about it for the last half hour. Anyway, bye bye. We'll see you next week for theatre camp, if that wasn't clear enough. Find us on
That'll
all
be fun.
socials. Nell's been drunkenly tweeting.
And I'll be at it again soon.
Anyway, bye bye.